Well, Brain, I know that you love this one.
Of course, I always like the good songs from our good friend from Trinidad. I mean, he's an educator. He has his PhD in education. So I always enjoy listening to his thought-provoking calypsos.
This one is called Misconception.
Yeah, Misconception.
And he's speaking of all the things that are said and is a misconception. He spoke about Soca, and he said who was the first person to sing Soca, but he did not do justice to say where Soca came from when Soca was being taught to him in Dominica.
Well, I listened to some vintage calypso, and I was listening to Lord Nelson. And Lord Nelson lived a lot of his life in the United States of America.
Yes.
And he claims to be the man who invented soca. Because the kind of soca he had at the time was known as disco soca.
Disco Soca.
So if you listen to
But it was not labeled, it was never ever labeled.
Yes, but I mean, many persons, he's saying, well, that was a prelude
To the Soca.
to the soca. And for instance, we know, for instance, that there are persons who we all know, and a lot of us would defend it, that soca originated from Dominica.
Yes.
Right? And so
With
there's
people like Tokyo,
Tokyo.
working together with Rashoti.
Rashoti. So a lot of people claim things, even for instance, bouillon, or for instance, cadence. You hear people claiming it, and the French claiming that.
No, well, the French cannot claim Cadas. It happened that Gordon Henderson at the time resided in Guadeloupe. And I think the very first time that they really brought Cadas out was when they were in France at a big activity in France.
Well, Exile One.
Exile One.
Right. Jeff Joe also, most of our groups in the early 1970s went to Guadeloupe. And that's where they made their records in Guadeloupe, because we had no studios here.
Yes, that's correct.
So if you wanted to make a record, a 45,
or an LP.
or an LP, you went to Guadeloupe.
Yes, you had to go to Guadeloupe.
Right, and most of the times that fellas were just happy to make a record, so the copyrights to those music was kept by the producer of the record.
Those times we were not very much knowledgeable about copyrights.
Right. So
thank God people like Gordon Henderson found themselves in Guadeloupe and have the knowledge of copyright, and helped quite a number of our Dominicans to be more okua to that.
So a lot of people lay claim to the music because at the time when you're ignorant, or not ignorant, but you don't have knowledge of the music industry, then it means that those early records would be in the possession of certain individuals who, would lay claim to that. So unless you would have to go to court.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't have the money to fight a court battle.
Yes.
So sometimes you
Sometimes
just
live in peace.
live well alone and enjoy the music, because music is a thing that brings people together. And so in small island states, we suffer a lack of knowledge about those cultural and musical things that we get to know very late in our lives.
But right now, I must say every singer, every producer, speaking of copyrights, so it means that they're much more okua to copyrights and how they themselves can get revenue out of it.
Right, but because DBS, right, or any other radio station like Carrie and the other radio station, if you play a song,
You have to pay.
you have to pay. Mark Murray is monitoring every song you play, and he has the royalties attached to that. So he'll write to you as the general manager for you to pay.
Before,
and I know he has done that before, to ask
How
how many times you play my song, boss. You send me a
knows.
check.
No, he knows. He knows.
So that's a big issue now in terms of copyright. So people on radio stations, even if you play the song at your home,
In your car.
In your car. And certain fellas who they're, monitoring, you'll be surprised that if you play that music loud, a fella can say, hey, stop playing that music, Or if you play that music, you have to pay me. So that's how it has become in the whole musical business.
And I don't have a problem for that, I really don't have a problem. But right now, we are seeing AI is getting very much involved in producing music. I recently tried to see how good that is, and I took a poem that I wrote way back in January of 2018, and I gave it to AI to produce for me, and AI was able to sing, produce the music, and give me the song. I mean, that was amazing.
Right. No, you don't. Technology is advancing so quickly that, we can hardly keep up with it, And so small islands like ours, yes, we hear all these new things around AI. But the thing about it, Cecil, is how are we going to use that? Are we going to become brain dead?
I don't think so.
Because basically, you write an essay, and all the corrections can be done for you by AI, and all the structure of the composition can be done by AI. So the question is, are you going to become?
But I want to say to people, don't always depend solely on AI. I mean, AI many times don't always give you the accurate answer.
And that is why I find linking the Lakou, basically, in terms of cultural transfer, that's a very dangerous thing. Because the transfer of the culture came through the old people, the elderly, who transferred the culture to their children, and the children transferred the culture to them. If you ask a child today about some of the stories that were told to you when you're growing up, about Jab, La Jablesse, Sukuyan, Kokma, all this cultural thing has virtually been lost, with the modern generation. Have you noticed that?
Yes, and that's why I'm happy that we could have a program like Lakou, where tonight we are going to really do a transformation in the Lakou, going back, and that's why I decided that I wasn't bringing in any guests tonight, so that we could have both discuss some things that we believe that can be lost. And to get people to call us in and to have a discussion with us. I really want to say that tonight.
Well, but let me just throw something at you. When I was in Rosa for the week, many people know that I'm working with you every Sunday night. So here is what they ask me. Boy, we're enjoying that program every morning. The talk program you have in the morning, the people are surely missing it. Because it's not the first person. Many persons come and tell me, how do you call the show in the morning? Every morning that you have from Monday to Friday, after your news and so on, where you have people calling in and talking. People asking me, but when is the manager going to bring that back? And I tell them, well, I don't know. Because, people enjoy that program. It's a very popular program on DBS, and the people, quite a number of them, missing that program.
That's Talking Point.
Yeah, they're missing Talking Point.
No, I started Talking Point a week ago, so I have been on Talking Point from last week Monday. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with a young Kazimi, who is a cyclist and had four ones at Cape level and 9 ones at CSEC level, and we had a very beautiful conversation. Tomorrow morning I will be having 800-meter Denic Luke with me on Talking Point, and we have open lines. As a matter of fact, on Friday I had an open line, and Tuesday I had an open line. Some person, some La Plaine called in reference to a situation that they are encountering with their water supply, and I spoke to Peter Seja, former parliamentary representative, and who gave me his side and spoke to the people of the community, and he said that he wrote a letter to Duasco on the matter. And on Friday a lady called and said that, she had water 3 hours after she spoke to me on Tuesday, and she had it on Tuesday, she had it on Wednesday, she had it on Thursday, but Friday morning she had no water. I'm sure tomorrow she's going to call me. So yes, Talking Point.
It's a very important program,
yes,
and the reason why I'm telling
and it
you
was
that,
not banned. I want you to know that it was not stopped.
I know.
It's just that during the period you would have heard several programs or several interviews where you find a number of organizations, to include that of government, would have requested of us to do the program on Talking Point. So the open line was not being met because of those programs. Right now, I have made it very clear to the program director, after several people who I met in the public spoke to me about wanting to have their Talking Point back and wanting to have the open line, and I said to them, Talking Point has not gone anywhere. And so I have placed it very clear, stated very clearly that we now have to get other places to put those programs.
Right, I was just coming to that.
Have our Talking Point.
Talking Point is a unique program.
Yes.
That has been developed over a period of time. Therefore, it's very important that slot is kept for that purpose, because people become, let's say, for want of a better word, they love it. They want to hear their talking point. They want to be able to discuss certain issues that, maybe they're not getting clear vibes about it. And Talking Point will help to clarify some of the misconceptions that may be out there in the public being put across by certain media houses. So they need to hear about it.
No, it's there. As I said last week, or week before last Friday, I started it with an open line, and last week Monday, again for the entire week, we had Talking Point. As a matter of fact, on this last Thursday, we had Yui who came in and to speak about the programs that they're going to have for the season. But yes, we are back.
So I'm very happy. I just wanted to carry that message to you directly, so that people can hear that I brought it out to you, so that you would be able to readjust, because it has become part of the Lakou.
Yes.
Because, when people express their opinion, that's the way we used to do it before. People can express themselves.
Yes.
They don't have to agree with you.
Yes.
They can disagree with you. Many times people get offended when people disagree with them. But it's good for people to disagree with you.
Yes.
It helps you to grow.
I believe that.
It can't be one-sided.
Yes.
It has to be two-dimensional. Yes. So I just thought I would bring that to you, because it has become part of the Lakou, the culture.
Yes.
And so we have to continue that program, because I think it's an extremely good program.
Yes.
There was something I wanted to say before we go further. One of the most dynamic and one of the clearer voices, or the most clarified voices, for want of a better word, I've heard on radio is that of Charmaine Green-Brown.
Yes.
I mean, she was the master of the art of language and pronunciation. I met her in Jamaica. She was studying at Carimax, because that's where many of the persons from the Caribbean went to study media. And I must say, Carimax had a very good program in terms of what they transmitted to radio announcers and producers in the Caribbean. Let me ask you a question. What has happened to Carimax and persons from the media, like DBS, traveling to Jamaica or to other institutions to upgrade their skills?
I am not sure. I can't say what I don't know of. I know that in 1996, I did a program with Carimac. That is way back, myself and Julian Morris from DBS Radio, 1996, June to be precise. I have not heard much about Carimac, because I know before what they were doing, they would have written to us and to say to us as DBS Radio management as to the programs that they would have had, and they would have gotten sponsors, and people would have gone across to Carimac. Some persons like Stephen Dangaben would have done it for about a year. So I'm not so sure exactly what is happening. We used to have Kana, and we're not hearing much about Kana like we used to hear before. So in terms of media training in the region, I have not been hearing quite a lot of it, but I mean quite a lot of training of the media in the mainland, in that of the United States. But in the region, Jamaica, we used to depend quite a lot of Jamaica. And Barbados to a certain extent, we have not been hearing and knowing of those programs. We know that at UE and at the State College, they have little programs, for the preparation of people who have not done media before, and especially the State College. But the kind of preparation that is required, or the training that is required, like before, we have not been hearing quite a lot of that.
Yeah, because I think that we need to get that level of training, that high level of training in terms of media, especially when it comes to broadcasting or reading the news or producing. Because one of the two best persons I've heard, I'm calling their names, well, I hate to call people, but there are many more. Charmaine, our good friend who has his doctorate now, Steinberg Henry, Mikey Bruni,
Tim Duran's great.
Tim Duran, yes. Your former manager, your man who trained you, the former manager, Dennis Joseph, Jeff Charles, Heavy Shillingford, to call a few names. I found that they were professionals. When you listen.
I hope you're not saying that what you're hearing are not professionals.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the quality.
No, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying the quality in the Lakou, the quality that was produced during that period of time was of a high level. Not to criticize anybody here, no, but it's to say that it doesn't meet the standards that I used to hear before.
It is not meeting the standards. I think training is, as you said, is critical, and the lack of training sometimes will not allow you to reach the maximum that you have to reach, and that might just be the situation. But I can say that the in every radio station that or television company that you've been to, or here on island, or even in the region, that the young people are very much committed to the media. They go out there and do their work, but they do it differently from how the early folks would have done it. They are doing it differently from Steinberg, from Shumaine, from Team. It's totally different. Now there is much more accessible information to the young people than it was before. Before, you had to really work hard. You had to work 10 times harder than you're working right now. So you don't always put it on professionalism or better.
Well, let me tell you, I'm not your modern people. You have Curtis. He does a lot of work. You have the guy in the sports division, and you have the lady. I think she's your program manager.
Yes, Ivoda.
I need to give them some kudos too, because they've been doing a lot of work. But you see, one of the things, especially with the Lakou and transiting from one culture to the next, we have to transmit the good culture. Where people begin to appreciate radio in terms of its production. For instance, one of the things that I like was Green Gold. That was a tremendous radio serial that that DBS produced. Do you have another one lined up, or you have a?
No, we don't have another one lined up. But we have a lot of production. For instance, there was a production done on the life of Sherman yesterday, just before the funeral of Mrs. Brown. You would have heard that live program, and you find that DBS Radio has done quite a lot of those programs of interest. So it's not necessarily episodes like you would have heard of the Green Gold. I think that's the only episode that I can recall that was ever done, I think, PAT, and then transferred to DBS Radio for listeners. Today, you don't get those types of programming. So programming has changed. The social media has changed the landscape of broadcasting. And I'm not looking for an excuse. The young people are, as I said, are as committed as those folks of before, because when you listen to sports, and we can go back, you listen to Gavin Richards today, the kind of information that he gives, the way that he interacts, not only with regional but international broadcasters or international sports personalities, or regional sports personalities. In the past, the sports reporters did not have that type of not relationship but contacts all because at that time telephone call was expensive. No, you can do a WhatsApp call someone and say, I need an insert on a matter, and you can get it in split seconds. So the commitment is there. When you listen to news on DBS radio, unlike before, you had to get up and search for the news, get the news wherever it is. Now, my staff can stay at DBS radio, and there can be a function at anywhere on the social media, and we can literally listen and record, and like we were there. So many times you hear inserts and you hear news items. We were not there because we can't be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So we would listen to it via the social media platform and still have that news available for you. So the commitment is still there. So the professionalism that we're talking about is there. I think what has to be done a bit more is that we have to try to focus a little bit much more on diction, pronunciation, grammar, those things that are needed to be focused on. And you don't blame the media house. And I still do not want to blame the school, because
you can blame. It's an education teacher. No, you can talk about the school. I will not be offended.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming the schools either. But society on a whole has found itself, changing language, and so right now you're in home day. I once upon a time I never knew what was home day, and now you're here in home day. Basically, they're telling you that's the middle of the week. So the language is what we need to focus on, and I'm talking about all media houses, and not just Dominica. Eh? I have listened to a number of other radio stations and television companies. The way that even we ourselves do our reporting, is head and shoulder to some other institutions or organizations in the region. So I'm saying that the young people here today, they are as committed as those folks of before. So sometimes when I hear people talk about the old school, the old guards, I try to explain to them, explain to you now, that things have turned, and by virtue of that, we have to come to understand the changes that are actually. So the next generation, because we know generation is 20 years, the next generation, the discussion will be, those present generation will be having that same discussion that we're having.
Well, no, the thing, I don't mind that, but the thing is that when you have a good foundation, in terms of the culture, in terms of the Lakou, in terms of the tradition, in terms of when you listen to fellas who articulated or who brought, let's say, for instance, sports commentary, when you listen to the Jeff Charles, when you listen to the Heavy Shillingfords, doing commentaries, or even our good friend Ozzy Luis, when they're commentating, there was no television, but as though you sing the great John Arlott. You could actually hear the way they describe the venue where cricket was being played, or the way the bowlers were bowling, or the way people were fielding. You got a sense of being there. And that is what I find, to an extent, sadly lacking in some of the things that I listen to now. It's not that I'm not saying that things cannot evolve. Things will evolve. Language will change. But some of the things that the foundation of it, we should always keep it to a higher level. That's the point I'm making. So Sherman Green was a mecca.
Yes.
Of the way people take their work very seriously, presented it, been there on time. As you said, she spent much time preparing.
Research.
And doing the necessary research before coming onto a program. She would have the information readily available to her, because she would have done the background checks. And
it's not that today they're not doing research. I'm telling, for instance, I am going on a program sometimes, and I may have done some research. When the person comes in front of me and the person starts to speak, and the person make mention of something that I may not be aware, I have the box now. That's my advantage. And that's a form of research. I have the box, which is a computer, and I can go via the internet and go to Google or go to AI and ask them, hey, I've just heard this. Can you give me a clarification on it? And it helps in the whole development of things. So even in reference to research, we can make the research before we come to the program, but there are things that you will still have to do in while you are on air. So Shimon Green did and the others in time gone by did not have that advantage. They would have had to be to the point. They had to think on their feet quickly. Today we have the opportunity, while yes, we still have to think quickly, but we still have the opportunity to Google and to get the necessary information that is required.
Right.
So it's a balanced discussion.
Right.
But I sometimes, not that I get offended, but I sometimes tell myself, the old guards. It reminds me of when I was a young boy. I would hear my mother say, "Mon pa rapon la jou, mon pa rapon town, mon pa rapon jeunesse ou pour Samuel," saying to me that her old time was better than mine, but not understanding that la tete clewe.
Yeah.
But
one of the things in terms of that, for instance, Cecil, in the old days, people would make use of what they grew. They eat what they grew. Mm-hmm. What I notice now, there has been a great transition in terms of our young people do not want to do any form of cooking.
We're moving away. I want us.
No, I'm staying on the Lakou.
Okay.
I just want you to understand what I'm talking about in terms of making use of some of the things that we grew up with, in terms of our foods that we ate, and that we're making the transition to quick.
We can come to that. We can come to that, Brain. I really want to do a little focus on school is going to open this week. And there are things that we used to do as boys or girls, in our growing up, preparing for school. And I want us to have start the Lakou program on that type of discussion, and that type of things that we did. Because, as we said, the AI is coming around, and there are some things that we are losing, and we need to remind the public, remind the students, remind the children who are out there that, yes, there are things that we used to do and we have to continue doing it. I shouldn't say continue, but we used to do it and it brought value to us.
Well, one of the things that when you're talking about going back to school, there are many children who spend the entire holiday not reading a book.
Yes.
Right? There are books online. There are books you can go and read online.
I'm not going. You see, we will come to that.
But I'm saying, before school opened in the past, you get yourself ready for the opening of school by reading. Because basically, when you come back to school, your teacher was going to ask you, what book did you read? You would need to give a book report to indicate that you read a book during your holiday or more than one book. It will not be the traditional essay. How did you spend your summer holidays? That was a tradition that a teacher would ask you. So going back to school, you would have to get yourself ready to go back. And going back would mean that your parents would have to start purchasing your items, your uniform, if the school used uniforms, your shoe or your whatever to put on your foot, and make sure you have your pencil, make sure you have your pen, whatever was required for you to be getting ready for school. So the week before school, and I'm seeing it, people would go getting the materials ready. Right now, people are going to the bookstores, buying the textbooks for the children, whether primary school or secondary school or college. That's what they do before they get back to school, because they have to be in a state of readiness.
Well, you see, I understand that readiness you're talking about. And yes, what I want to talk about is really the preparation and the readiness. So I don't want to create any sensation, but I want to look at the traditional things that we did. I mean, talking about purchasing the books and reading the books is academics, but I'm looking at the traditional things that we used to do. So going back, like this Sunday, school is tomorrow, Monday. We know that our parents would call us if there are 7 children in the home. That we know that from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after we have had our lunch, we would have been called by our mother to now come and remove the kwas of summer. So all the running you made and all the underpower you went and all the kwas that was on your body, your mother would call you and would put you naked, boy like girl, and prepare you for school for next day. So they would use a stone. First they would use the wash rug, and then they use the stone. Then they come back and they use the wash rug. I don't know in your time, Brain, how that was done. Whether your mom would have taken you and give you that bath.
No, what we did was that we would go to the sea, basically, and we'd take a bath. So let's say, for instance, school opening on Monday, good weather, we go to the sea, because the sea is close to my home. When I live by the riverside, we would go to the river. Of course, your parents would scrub you down, but as we grew a little bit older, some of the boys went to underpower, where they would stay practically for the whole day bathing. And so it would be further down, where probably what our parents would give us was a wash down. Let's say 3 or 4 days before, your sene, your Epsom salt, to wash down, because you would have eaten a lot of mangoes during the summer holiday. Or you would have ate a lot of cane. Or you did a lot of hunting. So you would get a pudge down with sene. Sene was on the menu.
So for instance, in my case, yes, sene would be on Friday night, because it's a wash down, and you do not want to get yourself into the toilet on Monday morning at school. So we'd get the sene Friday night, Saturday morning, and by Sunday, you get that running stomach, and I know that yes, we used to do that, and then on Monday we'd get Bovril.
Bovril, yeah.
Yeah, we'd get Bovril. Really, that will help just to tighten your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
You would get Bovril. I'm not so sure whether they're doing that those days, but I know on the weekend you would get your sene, to really have that, whatever you ate over the summer, to wash out that stomach, and then prepare you for school on Monday. So yes, we would have gotten that sene.
But I also, my mother would give me, just during the holidays, my Kodol. Mm-hmm. I'd have to drink Kodol.
Yes.
We had a bottle of Kodol. We had to drink that to energize us. And then we had our 7 C's, meaning our in capsule, but in my days, it was fresh. Cod liver oil?
Well, I can't recall we were taking cod liver oil in a capsule. We had to take it in our spoon.
In a spoon, yeah.
In a spoon that will be poured to you on a spoon, and you'll have to take, I think, two.
Two, yeah.
Yeah, two teaspoons. Everybody had to take that until the bottle is finished.
That's right.
If it's a week, it's a week. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And you'll have to do that. But what was very important, as you were making mention, was the worm medicine. The worm medicine was very, very, very important.
Did you see the kind of worms that come out?
Oh my God, they were.
Were you afraid of them?
Boy,
I remember when I saw one of those things, the length of that coming out, I was so afraid of that, because they would come out and tickle your anus. So basically, you've seen that dropping. So I used to say, well, you mean the human body have all those things inside of it? Where did that worm come from?
Yes.
And so you were dewormed.
Yes.
And a lot of us was afraid of it.
And the deworm would have happened during the week. It was happening during the week. So you were not getting that just on the weekend. So the deworm would maybe midweek, you'd have gotten that. And it was really a very uncomfortable situation, period that we had really just before school would have reopened. So yes, while we are excited to go to school on Monday because we're going to a new class, we're going to meet new friends, but doing the deworming during the week, and then on the weekend you have to take your worm you have to take your Bovril on Monday. What was the other one we said on?
Well, I would have to take my Bovril for sure.
And cod liver oil.
And my cod liver oil.
And the cod liver oil.
And not only that, there was another thing, cod liver and oil. Not only, there was a thing like, it had a milk in it with some cod liver oil in it. We used to take that too.
And also for the smaller children, and for those who have us that are big, some of us, I think I got it up to maybe first form in high school, that they used to take the glory cedar, and crush it
Mm-hmm. Bush bath.
and put it in the big basin. What is it called, the big basin again?
Well, a sort of tub.
The tub.
The galvanized thing?
Yes. What's the name again?
I cannot remember the name.
The name is coming and going. It's a tub.
Yes, a tub.
We had a name calling it.
I forgot the name.
Yes, and
they put you in that white basin. A big white basin.
Or the big white basin, or the one that's the aluminum.
Yeah, it's kind of grayish.
Yeah, aluminum, and then they would scrub you down with that glory cedar and make you drink some glory cedar water.
Well, they used to bathe me also with glory cedar and kukuli. Kukuli.
Kukuli.
Man, would have to drink that thing. Bitter, man. We get some kukuli for sure. That would be there.
Someone say benwe. And some persons call it benwe, but the benwe is a Creole word,
Yeah.
Bath pan.
The bath pan.
The bath pan. That was what it was. The bath pan. They used to put you in the bath pan, and those days you used to get this aluminum bath pan, and when you could go in that, and then you're from head to toe, and then later on, so there are some persons who would have done the glory cedar. So I got the glory cedar at one time, but then the scrubbing of your body with the stone. Now I'm for me, before we used to call it a back, we used to call it a back,
The bath.
the back.
Yeah, I know.
They build the back
At the back of the house, right?
We had we used to call it a back. I think we just call it a back.
What was that? They build out of
the building.
Yeah, man.
The thing for you to have your water and so on. And so before that, we used to go by Miss Peer, a lady called Miss Peer. That was the mother of Dr. Ricketts, Shillingford Ricketts, and the mother of Janice Jajak, who had Social Security now. So their parents. Let's take a call. Let's see what this person has to say. Good evening to you, caller. You're live.
Cecil.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Ambrin.
Good evening, Teacher Luther.
Hi, Mr. Cecil Joseph and Mr. Adam. Everything you all say is the gospel truth. But there's one thing, Cecil, you tend to forget, though. During the holidays, Mr. Cecil, you see, for example, children now, they go overseas or they go to summer school and this thing. Your mother, I remember, I used to live in Ponce, I can tell you. I remember during the holidays, that's why you had to scrub house, clean on the cellar, all those things there, because during that time you're in school. So the first couple of weeks. And the thing you talk about before school open, they call it deworm. They deworm you. All the old mango and cane nip and all those things you eat, they give you the worm medicine 1 week before. Right? So right now, as you said, parents are preparing to buy books and so on and so on. But we, the children, were properly taken care of. I don't know, I don't know if it happens now, but in your days and those days and 90s, you had to go to school well clean, no bad stomach, no cold, nothing like that. You had to be ready. In other words, you had to be prepared. So all what you are saying there is the gospel truth. And I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. And that is so true. I don't know where that has gone. That tradition has gone. But as I was saying, that on the Sunday before the last Sunday in summer, all right, the last Sunday in summer, because we know when school open, summer is all over. We would go by Miss Peer, and we would have to have that bath. All of us. My mother would take every one of us and bring us by Miss Peer, and she have to have this stone to rub our back, rub our neck, rub on our feet. I mean our hands. That was amazing.
Right, but you must remember that the culture at the time is that when you come to school on the first day, there's school inspection. Your nails have to be inspected. Your hair has to be inspected. You have to make sure your teeth is brushed. So that was also preparation, because they know when you go to school, the teachers would have examination of what they call hygiene. Your body was critical, so you had to be spick and span because you're coming to school on the first day. Now, you would also have to have your trim.
I was going to come to that, but before we go to the trim, just imagine, brain, that you are 12 and 13 and even sometimes 14 years of age, and your parents bathing you naked. Today, children say to you that, hey, mommy not bathing me, I cannot bathe. I have a 10-year-old and he'll tell you that I'll bathe myself.
Right. No, but first of all, when your mother is bathing you, your private parts have to be cleansed, you know. If you're a boy, your private part is cleansed.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother will ensure that there is nothing inside your private parts.
Right.
So you cannot tell her no.
Yeah. No, look, someone just said to me, the person's name is Gary Philip. And the person says to me, but the person didn't put the name Philip. But the first thing was Philip Milk of Magnesia. That's what we used to call it. Philip Milk of Magnesia.
Oh, yeah, the Magnesia, yes.
And the person said to me that that was present in every household.
Yeah, yeah.
Every household had this blue box.
Yeah.
Bottle.
Blue bottle.
Yes.
Milk of Magnesia.
Milk of Magnesia.
You get a dose.
You shake that.
Yeah, man.
Not one dose.
But I would get a dose.
Your mother buy that.
And she drinking it too, eh?
Everybody
in the home.
in that Milk of Magnesia.
Philip Milk of Magnesia.
Philip Milk of Magnesia. I have not seen that for a long time.
Oh, but they still have that, you know, Cecil. They still have that.
Let's go to the telephone quickly. Good evening to you, caller.
I'm doing
Yes.
Scotch emulsion. The version is Scotch emulsion.
Scotch emulsion.
Emulsion.
That was it. Boy, that was something else.
Yes, thanks very much.
Boy, that was something. I was afraid of that, you know, Cecil.
Boy, that about this.
Boy.
It was brown like.
Well, my own was white.
No.
White.
Was white.
White.
Scotch emulsion was
Boy,
It was white.
I was afraid of that.
Man, that thing had
Boy,
a
and
old
when you
fresh
see
taste.
when you start to fumigate,
I had to block my nose. Block my nose and
Cecil,
my eyes.
when you take all those purging out, when you start exploding,
Everybody have to run.
everybody running,
Everybody
you know,
has to
because you're
run.
fumigating the whole place because you're being purged. So that was a very important way of
Yes.
cleansing your body.
Scotch emulsion.
Yeah,
Philip Milk of Magnesia.
Magnesia.
Sene.
your sene,
What else?
what your cod liver oil,
Cod liver oil. You know.
all that was.
I
there,
mean,
man.
you had to take all of these things.
And all that was there, you know. All that was there. Your mother had that in the
and
room.
You cannot say you're not taking it, eh?
You crazy, man.
Upasa di, mommy, I don't want that. You know, you cannot even say that, mommy, I don't want that.
You line up, man.
When you hear Cecil, yes, mommy, and they have each of the bottles there, you know.
Right,
So
line
you
up.
have to, you take each of the bottles.
You
each
line
of the
up.
bottles, you have to take a spoon from each of them.
You line up.
Good evening to you, caller. You're live.
Cecil, another one they should give you.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was asked you. The one medicine, that's all. You have to, they used to hold your nose, and after that they give you a little piece of lime to pass in your mouth. That one, that one medicine, could be one you.
And you know what the name of that one was? Antipa.
Well, look, somebody just sent that to me.
Antipa.
Somebody just sent that. You're on your phone, so I can't see you from the person.
No, I don't have my phone.
The person just said Antipa.
Well, that was one.
The
boy.
person, another person said the nastiest taste in medicine ever, and someone said Antipa.
Oh boy, when you get your Antipa, you run for your life.
But
man.
when you get an Antipa,
You're gonna shit for
boy,
you.
that making you go to the toilet. Let me tell you, in minutes. In minutes, doesn't matter what you take.
What you eat.
What you eat.
Once you
in
get when that
minutes,
Antipa hit you,
Antipa hits.
you must head to the
You have
toilet.
to go to the toilet.
Boy.
And those are the not flushing toilets.
And no flushing toilet. Where you have time to get to the pit latrine.
Boy, and that was instant.
Instant progeny.
So the week before school opens, you know, it was a drill that we had.
Yeah.
Everybody had to come and take their medication. Everybody had to take their medication. Epsom salt.
Yes, I mentioned that.
Someone making mention of the Epsom salt.
Yeah, it was so.
Antipa was sweet. That person, Tina, you're not serious. The bad one was an oil called what? A dead shot.
Oh yeah, the dead shot was that was killing, man.
I can't remember that one.
That was a dead shot, man. When they give that to you, that shake you, man. Your balls shake. You don't hear the name now. Dead shot.
Dead shot.
When they give that to you, Cecil, it's either you bend or break, but you're being purged.
Yeah.
But these people had some cultures. We don't have that anymore.
Yes.
Children going back to school just now.
Tomorrow, if
This week,
if this week's school
maybe
is
next
reopening,
week.
you know,
And none of that. Parents don't have that. None of that. Conkles is the order of the day.
was that Kitrak? Was that Ketrat? Was that Ketrak?
Ketrak?
What's that?
Ketrak?
What's that? Ketrak.
I never met that one.
I never had that one. Ketrak was another one. That's what the person said. I wish the person could call us and tell us what's that. The person, Mr. Christopher, if you can call us and tell us what that is, I would be happy. You know. So there was one called Dead Shot. Do you remember this one? I can't remember Dead Shot.
I can't remember how it was.
Honestly, I can't remember Dead Shot. But Ketrak, I don't know.
But then again, if you get injured during the holidays, you'd have to have, because some of us split so much, some of us get squishy, we get bruised.
The squishy that we used to get, while during on the summer.
Cat with running with.
You know what we used to do? Stand up by a dog, and a dog would sit there and the dog would just lick that. I'm trying to wonder.
You would have a dog lick that?
Yeah, but guess you have a saw and a dog would lick that.
Boy.
Because during the summer we running so
much, and you have bobo.
We falling on tree, getting bobo. You check,
and we
must go to school with bobo. So whatever bobo we have,
dog licking.
Dog have to lick that. Dog had to lick that.
Boy, I'm telling you, those were the days. And then you have your mockery comb there, your MB powder.
Someone just remind me that feral compound.
Yeah.
I still like that one.
I have that one at home. All
also. In the blue box.
In the blue box, I have it.
Yeah, the blue box. There's blue and white. The written words were in white.
I have it now at home.
You still have it?
Yeah, man.
I haven't taken this for a while. Feral compound.
It's a kind of brownish.
Let's see what this person has to say. Good evening.
In that short you're talking here, it wasn't any more medicine. It was the wormness that was so deadly, so they call it a dead shot.
Okay, you know that. Yeah, you're right.
So the person said to me they used to get dead shot on a Saturday.
Yeah, the Sene.
Before school open.
Yeah, the Sene.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Boy, look.
Dead shot.
So
just imagine the things. I wish someone could just put it in order for me. The things that we used to take. So we had Sene, we had
Sene, we had our cod liver oil. We had our Bovril. Right, we had to take that. We had our Epsom salt.
Iodex.
We had our Codol.
We had Codol.
Right.
That's how many so far?
That's about 5. And those that we mentioned, but we can't recall. So we had quite a bit up our
before we go to school.
Before you go to school.
1 week before you go to school.
Just 1 week before you go.
And still after that 1 week, you still have to continue that.
Oh yes.
That
on the weekend regime, you get it again.
You still have to continue the regime. Someone just said to me, I still have feral. That was my growing up tonic. And Bovril.
Yeah, I don't have the Bovril.
Virol. What's Virol?
Ferrol.
Ferrol?
Feral compound.
Ferrol?
Ferrol.
The person spelled FIROL. Okay. So Ferrol compound.
Yeah.
You had Feral compound and you had Bovril.
Plus, you have your bush bath. Your bush bath to cleanse your skin if you had any rash. And during that time, you had rash,
Yeah, what someone said, And that must have been in Point Michelle doing this one. After you drink this, they give you some sene and a little crapo soup or codfish soup.
Yeah. That wasn't right. You must have your crapo soup. Boy, that was something else. Because Cecil, you ever see when they kill the crapo? You ever see them kill a crapo and what happened to it?
It's still jumping.
But it's still jumping, boy, and my mother have that. When she put that inside it, she tell me, we're going to have some crapo soup. I said, what? But you must have. She said, I make you strong, man.
Someone said the Verol was a little jam. Someone just told me about Ribena. You remember Ribena?
Ribena, yes.
But Ribena came after. Ribena came after.
Right.
Ribena came late after.
But before you go to school now, before you go to bed, or no, just after you're getting ready to go to school, and I must get something special in my head.
Oh, you must cut your hair.
I get my hair cut, but my mother have to pass that in my head, man.
I come
to open my brains, man.
Good evening to you, caller.
Good night to you, Mr. Joseph.
I know you have plenty. Tell us.
Are you not putting it in order?
Tell us. Put it in order for us.
All right. You have to take the word medicine before you take the sene. First thing your mother giving is the word medicine first.
On Monday. On the Monday before school open.
No, at least a week before school open, because you have to purge you for it to be able to go to school with a good stomach Monday morning. You cannot go shitting in school.
So that's why I ask if it's Monday morning. That's why I ask if it's the Monday before.
Well, yes, you can take it the Monday before. At least the week coming down to school, like you see, like all now, so you starting to give your children. You starting to give them their antipa, and then you can give them after you give them the person tell you about Ketrack. Ketrack is another name for our medicine.
Oh, okay.
And that one is a latest one. It's not something we had known.
Because
like
that's why I said Ketrack, and I trying to wonder what was that. So you say it's the latest one.
Right, Ketrack is a new one. It comes in both in liquid and in tablet form.
Okay.
If you go to the pharmacy now, you can just buy it.
Yes.
Yeah. But you take it your medicine first, and after that you take it your Sene. And then after that, now they're starting to give you a little cooling, like a little herbal cooling, semen control and whatever to drink, to clean. In other words, after you pass whatever you pass with the home medicine, then the Sene is to take out the quash, and then the herbal tea is for you to wash away everything. And then now they started to give you a little soup, and then they starting to give you your because every morning we have to drink cod liver oil before we go to school.
That's correct.
Or our cereal compound or the codal compound. That is what we used to use every morning. I still using it. It's very good. And then from then on now they're starting to feed you normally again, and you seeing children going to school when school open now. The Sunday before you go to school, you bathing in your bush. Like your Sine Kotwa, your Glory Sida, your Mezemawi, your People, it's just name it. You put everything in a water, you boil it, and you use the water, and even the bush, you scrub yourself, the children, we feed you sometimes, you strain it for their hair, and it's head to toe. Our parents used to bathe us naked. And then you go on the morning, you get in a nice hair comb.
Let me ask you, at what age your mother stopped bathing you?
I can't really remember what age, because our parents, the way we raise our parents, we raise with our parents. What another thing our parents used to do, every night we used to come and kneel down in front of our parents' bed and pray. And every morning we used to wake up in the morning and kneel down in front of our bed and pray and go to school. Yes. So that happened at the age of up to around 13, 14, like that, going up 16. That is around the age group school. Yes. But I don't have much money. I listen to all your good programs.
Thank you.
Good night, Mr. Adam.
Good night.
Okay, good.
No.
Let us not forget the castor oil.
Oh, yeah, we have the castor oil.
The castor oil.
To pass in your head.
You have to pass that in your head.
No, not the castor oil alone.
You're talking about the one by you can buy
my red lavender.
You can buy Jollies, no?
Yeah, man, I have to go and get that.
You have to get
my mother have to pass that in my head.
And people don't understand, the value of these things,
They pass that in my head, man. Open my brains, man.
Get smart.
For me to get down to
good evening.
Big fellas and women.
Hi, good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
I remember when I was a little girl at home in Vegas before school, Mama always used to give us something they call Brooklacks. It was a little chocolate, brown chocolate.
Oh, yes. But
right?
that bad.
It
oh, boy.
I used to run all around at the time.
What do you mean?
And when I bring your bottom, I can heal it. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
And the thing white, them kind of wombs that come out from your anus, the white boy, they like white, the white.
Santogen tonic, you remember that one?
Sanotogen, yes. Yeah, Sanotogen, I had that.
Yeah. It was not very bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but that's to build you up, to make you strong. Yeah, muscles.
Yeah. No, so someone was saying 1 teaspoon of castor oil and a half of grapefruit. The Saturday before school starts.
Yes, your grapefruit with your castor oil. But that was bad too.
Someone will tell me, do you remember cataplam?
Well, if you get blessed.
When you suffer from back pain.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's in back pain.
When you get your judo, they jump on fellas kicking you all in your chest.
So you have to get the cataplam on
you, man. If you quiver,
you got all that blessing you.
Yeah, because you wrestling fellas kicking you, your mother thumping you. Remember, Mama, when she get vexed, she putting thump on you and choke on you.
Yes. When you get them vexed over the summer, they knock you
out. You get a knockout.
So you're talking about the hair now. So they used to go and buy it in a little bottle.
You remember it?
Yes, red lavender. And at that time, it was coming from Guadeloupe.
Yeah.
So anybody that going in Guadeloupe, or especially the hucksters, let's take a telephone call. Good evening to you, caller. Sorry about that, you call back.
You get that in your middle of your head, man.
Let's go back to the telephone. Good evening to you, caller.
No, good.
Yes.
You're not quite a religion, it's quite for the whole spirit, nobody to do nothing.
Right. And when you're going to right, and when you're going to school,
spirit. And I was there for.
All right then, thanks.
when you go into school, nobody must touch your head, you know. They'll take your.
We're going to come to that. We're going to come to that in a while. We're the red lavender. But before that, good evening. Good evening, caller.
Cecil,
Yes.
that was Cecil. And you remember when Hartley telling me to walk in the winter park, Cecil? No one panty take outside.
Take it outside.
And I have to walk, 13, 14 years I have to walk, Cecil, in the winter park. Else, you know what's happening.
Blows.
Your tete exposed and you walk in.
What was easy, you know?
What you walking in the park for?
She had to go across
But
the river.
what you want that to be coming from the river. And my mother had me
She
walking
lives
in the
in
winter park 13, 14 years, 10, 7
Okay, now by Scotia.
13,
What?
right financial
Where
center,
financial is
13,
now?
14 years.
Like a fool, man.
No.
With your breast.
And we coming at the river, Cecil, all boys in underwear, girls in panties, take outside.
Yes.
We have to pass Winter Park.
Yes. The other gate in the northern part of the Winter Park. And there's
Why?
a step that after they finish bathe,
Yeah.
you know,
You have to sit down there.
They have to sit right and then go across to the Windsor Park. Because you see the car park, that big road. So pass them get
Boy,
and then she just
Cecil, where we going about 7 years.
Boy, that was something else.
That was something else. See?
And was it
David,
was that a problem?
It was no problem, Cecil, that was no problem. No problem at all.
Nobody bother about that.
If you're going to make a little
Nobody bother.
Nobody bother about that. You go and bathe?
Not now, now.
Not by now. They say you're crazy at 15 years. Thank you anyway. So you're saying now, if someone goes to Guadeloupe, let's get that from Guadeloupe.
Yeah, Guadeloupe.
It was the red lavender and something else, you know. Menevini. That's Menevini?
But anything they get in Guadeloupe, you know, that good, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Pass that in your head.
No,
and nobody must touch your head.
Boy, that's and you know some children,
you're thumping children.
Some have gal.
Yeah, they have
gal.
Some
have gal.
Yeah, gal. A lot of gal.
But gal was popular.
Popular gal.
Good evening.
Cecil.
Yes, sir.
Cecil Jennifer, I think that's my last. Let me tell you that. In your days and Mr. Adam's days, I want you to tell me which was the best antibiotic, you know. Nowadays, anything that happens to you,
more
we're talking about natural.
More come.
Let me tell you, Cecil. Let me tell you, Mr. Cecil. You know what you do when you need to play in the back, or you get a glass bottle caught you under your foot, or you get a nail brick. The best antibiotic was you go home, your mother cut a lime and they squeeze that on it, my brother. Squeeze a lime. Nowadays they give you injection. And let me tell you something again, Cecil. What the lady tell you there is true. I look for Martin. I'm talking to you as an old-time teacher. I played football in Windsor Park with Patricia Tomboy. She only had her panty on. Football in Windsor Park. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know who's a Patricia Tomboy. Oh, Black Patricia.
Black Patricia,
yes, yeah.
Her son, they're living in Goodwill now.
Yes, Black Patricia. I haven't seen Patricia for a long time.
She died, man.
You serious now?
Yeah. Patricia Tomboy.
Yes.
Yeah, and she living in Goodwill, man.
I'm seeing. I never realized.
I think she has two children.
Yes.
The boy.
So we were talking about the red lavender and safetida.
Yeah, in your head.
In your head.
Nobody can touch
it. Let me tell you, when your mother know that that huckster
going up.
Those days you cannot say it loud because people used to think it's mal, you know, because you check anytime you're using red lavender. It's like mal because that a smell.
But it's smelling, man.
It's like a snotty. So when what they used to do, just take a little bit,
right.
And they would
tap it in your head.
Tap it in the middle of your head. Tap it, say that in the middle of, and then at the forehead.
Your forehead,
they make a cross. They make a sign of the cross,
right,
for you, and they tell you good rhythms.
Yeah, go up.
And they're telling you, after they finish, they're telling you, parfait pièce mon touche tattoo.
Right.
Do not allow anyone to touch your head.
Right.
So, you know.
And when you're coming out, boy, look, jokes, boy. When you're going to school for the first day and you live in your house, you think you're coming out
Front?
just in the front.
No, you have to go back.
You have to reverse, you know.
You have to walk back.
You're coming out in reverse, you know, reverse gear, you know. And when you come out from the house now, you then turn for you to face because you reverse back.
Yes.
And now you're going forward. So anything that touch you cannot work.
And you don't want anybody to touch you because you'll take your l'esprit.
Yeah.
You will take your l'esprit. Nobody must touch your forehead. Nobody must touch your head.
But don't make people touch your head, you know. They'll take all your brains. They want to spoil you.
Yes.
You get dotish.
Yes.
You can't learn.
Yes. But let me tell you, just look at the boys. The boys, we used to go by Acaris. You remember Acaris?
Yeah, man.
Right, on Jolly Lane. No matter where you living in Roseau,
Tall man.
you have to either go by Acaris or you go by Cap. Cap was on River Street.
River Street, yeah.
You have to go by Cap, Acaris. These two barbers I knew. These two barbers I knew.
Those two I knew very
Cap
well.
and Acaris. But my mother,
Oh, yes, we had another one.
Which is the other
Texas.
Texas, man. How could I forget Texas? Texas maybe had too much Vary.
He had Vary, man.
Texas had Vary.
All dressed all in white, man.
Texas had a
You
Vary.
had to go by Texas, man.
Let me tell you.
And he had a kind of chair.
Boy, let me tell you.
With his,
I think
scissors.
Texas was the first one I think had a swollen chair, you know.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, and
Swinging,
then,
man.
And then Cap.
And
But
the
Acaris
big
never had one.
No.
Acaris never had one. Acaris tall. He come in with his little scissors and above you.
And you forget one of them, man. Down by the riverside there.
His Cap.
Right in the corner when you're going down by the mango tree, the fella playing guitar now, his son.
Who you talking
There's a
about?
Spanish fella, Mr. was doing barbering as well. His name, he died. Can't remember his name. His name will come. He was another popular barber, man.
I'm trying to remember who's that.
He had a shop, and his son is a guitar player.
You see River Street?
Yeah, on the corner.
The
On the corner, yeah, where the Marigot bus stop is.
Good evening to you, caller.
Zudi, man.
Zudi.
Thank you, boy.
Thank you.
That's the
Zudi.
man. Zudi, how can you forget? How we can forget Zudi, no, man?
I never went by Zudi.
No, he was my barber.
I
too.
never went by Zudi.
Oh, Zudi was great.
I went by Shaw, I went by Cap, and I went by Acaris.
I went by Zudi. I went by Acaris.
But Zudi was talking too much.
Zudi and I used to talk. He liked women, but we had to talk.
Talk too much.
But he liked the girls, man.
Check.
Zudi, yeah,
Zudi.
that was my barber self.
So, but the thing is that now, when you would have gone by, Acaris. You go by Acaris, put you to sit down on his chair. You know this kind of chairs they used to have before. He's not
spinning. His chair wasn't spinning.
And
Straight
start
like
to cut.
a cutting.
He's not asking you what kind of cut you want, you know. It's bebop. All children used to have bebop, and I used to hate a bebop.
Oh, I never had that.
You know, as a bebop man.
No.
Bebop,
I know.
It's
okay.
They live in the
here, right
in
there,
front.
in front.
But the bourgeois little boys now, they used to cut the bebop.
Right.
And they have a nice hair, and that's what I wanted.
And your part.
And your, I come into that.
Your part.
So when you get the bebop, they used to give you a long part, man.
On the left
side.
Yeah, I'm a nice
And
part.
you're checking, boy. What do you do with that partner, boy? And you're going home. But before you go and get your hair cut, my brother, you vex like heaven to hell.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You vex, your mouth long, and your mother saying, they may pack our studies on two. So all boys have to go and cut their hair.
Cut your hair.
And just imagine you live in Fields Lane or you Bath Estate, and we have to walk right. When you live in Roseau, we used to go by Cap. My mother became 7 days. No, we have to walk now to Acaris because Acaris are 7 days.
Yeah, that's 7 days.
And Acaris are asking you what kind of haircut you want to do.
You just put it
when
on.
your mother give you 50 cents or your dollar to go and cut your hair, you have to go and cut that.
Yeah.
But you vex like heaven. You do not want to go and cut your hair. When you reach by Acaris, you're more vexed than anything else.
Right. But the thing about it, what they didn't know, when your head shining like that, on the first day of school, we're waiting for you.
Carlot.
We're waiting for you.
And that's your man.
The boys and them waiting for you. If you are going to the chateau, you happen to get to the chateau and you pass through what they know, the cashew, your head will get red. Every man hitting you behind your head. So you know your haircut is a time for fellas to practice on it.
Well, let me tell you, no. That's where you had a lot of problems in school, you know. Because guys come in with their haircuts. Everybody here have to cut. Those days, for summer, you have your bebop, you have your big bebop. But your mother vain you, if all your bebop you have, before you, imagine, you know, them people, they used to calculate that well.
Calculating it.
They're giving you all your work beds so that 2 o'clock they bringing you to wash yourself. But at 10 o'clock after you finish eat breakfast, you have to go and trim. No, he was saying cut your hair.
Yeah, you have to go and cut
but
your hair.
no, it wasn't cut your hair. You have to go and trim.
Go and trim.
But and you're saying, boy, you have to go and trim, boy. Because let me tell you, most of us used to dread Saturday. Because Saturday, Sunday is the time to cut your hair. And my brother, trouble. And you cannot go and play. Because the way your mother used to threaten you, they used to tell you, if you see you come home and that kwasha dry, you have that out of me. So you have to run by Accuracy, try to get your hair cut.
And then come back.
And then come back. But look, but before you even leave the house, the kwasha dry.
Yeah, well, she just wants you to go.
You have to go. So when you reach by Accuracy not asking you no question. It's just cut your hair.
That's right. You have no you can't tell your mother or your father, no, eh?
Mm-hmm.
They will deal with you. But I dreaded that haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I told you before, I know I was going to find myself in trouble. Fight will break out on the first day of school.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fella's going to beat you down.
Boy, let me tell you, when you see you, and those days you wasn't wearing hat.
No hat.
Because you wearing hat.
That's shining and you have Vaseline.
And the way the man used to do the bebop, I don't know if Accuracy was a wicked fella, The man living that piece of hair there. And cutting all the orders. And you're looking real ugly, my brother. And a long part on your left side. But that's for the Soca boys. That's for my father and them, not for us. For the part.
Right, your father.
And when you go home, your mother telling you,
Right.
All summer I was in my hair then.
Yeah.
Boy, let me tell you, if you don't want to cut your hair.
Problems.
Now today your father, we have the same tradition. I tell my son, you have to go and cut his hair.
Oh, you're telling your son that?
Oh, yes, you have to go and cut his hair. He has to go and cut his hair.
But some of them will not cut their hair, Cecil, because they have modern hairstyle now, a kind of thing.
The American term is just called goatee.
Oh, the goatee.
The goatee.
Yeah. The small bebop.
Yeah,
the goatee.
Yeah.
The goatee, and you're flashy, man.
Yes.
But Cecil, you'll have bebop, but you in short khaki pants.
Boy, gosh. But that was okay. Because that's everyone.
But no, right now, young fellas going to school.
Everyone. Maki,
with their long pants.
You so hope, right? Because short khaki pants was for primary school. And as soon as you enter into high school, you start to wear long pants.
Ah, well, you were different than me. When I went to the grammar school, are you mad? First, second, and third form by the Windsor Park. Short pants with your hose and your tie. Fourth form, fifth form, sixth form by L Rose. So you had your demarcation line. You know your place. You can have all the pearl on your foot.
But
you in fourth form, your short pants.
Short pants.
You in second form, your long pants differentiated you as to the form you belong to.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that at the high school. Mm-hmm. No man.
So the boys used to cut their hair, and the girls though. Today they have add-ons, they have the hair I buy, they have Jerry curls. So now in our time, our mothers, my brother, had two girls. Joycelyn, Marlene, sit down they used to have a bench. Alright?
How are they going to comb their hair?
Boy, that's in big pots. In big pots.
Oh yeah, they plait their hair.
They plait in their hair. And in like Congo, they used to call it?
Yeah, the Congo.
They put it Congo. That was not easy.
Plaiting the hair. That's true, Cecil. And they put the castor oil pass between that.
Yeah, what someone said. I wanted bebop so bad, but my head was too wrong. I would cry for my bebop.
So you don't have a hair.
The man said his head was too wrong. Who's saying that? Ted Sierra say he wanted his bebop all the time, but his head's so wrong.
Yeah, from that time I know your head ball.
Can you imagine what the man was saying? That his bebop prevented him from and so now I was talking about the girls. Mm-hmm. So they were not ironing, they were not
the hot comb was in the hair?
No, the hot comb is for them big women. But you go in primary school and you may be in your first and second form in high school, you can't have a hot comb. As a matter of fact, in those days, the school would not have accepted you with hot comb. No perm here, you know. You have to have your big plait, your knot. You check. So they used to have Congo and they used to have the plaits. They're two
Plaits,
different,
yeah.
yeah. So just the women, if the girls, if they with plenty hair, they used to have this. So the mothers now, they used to wash the children. The girls, they were washing their hair with Glory Seeder. I don't think they're washing their own with Glory Seeder. They used to have shampoo. They used to get a shampoo, and they wash that hair. And then now, later around 5 o'clock, they call in Marlene, Joycelyn, come and get your hair cut. You know what I'm saying? You have to do that. But today we're not seeing that. Today we're seeing
But not only that. No, your mother have to bring you to school. But here the joke. She herself going to get ready. She's going to get ready to bring you to school. It's not your father bringing you to school.
Yes.
Your mother going to bring you to school. So your mother herself have to get ready.
Yes.
So the lady have 2 things on the coal pot. 2 hot comb. Cecil, that on fire. That red hot. And the lady passing that in her head. And her head saying, aye. Because she want to make her hair like a white woman hair. So she passing that with Vaseline. And you can see the hair as though it's burning, you know. But the lady doing that herself, you know. They call it the hot comb, the iron comb.
Yeah, the iron
you ever
comb.
see that? Your mother had that?
Man, of course. You have this comb and
man.
And it was.
And you have a long hand.
You put that under the coal pot, on the coal pot, and you pass in a little cloth on that, and,
yeah,
and then you put that in there, with a little Vaseline. Yeah. You put the Vaseline. They put it there, and they put the Vaseline in the scalp.
Yeah.
And they used to have the pride.
Yeah, boy. Your mother here shining because she have to bring her children to school.
You know what I'm saying?
So they get ready themselves. So you have to get ready to bring your children to school for the first day.
Hoy. And someone's just telling me that they used to use, I know I used hibiscus, you know, and someone said that they used to use okra leaves. But I know I used to use hibiscus.
Okay, but you're bourgeois, man.
No, okra, but
hibiscus was some.
No, you could get hibiscus leaf anywhere and pong it.
And you pong in it, passing here.
The glee of the hibiscus is to help you well, you know.
Okay,
you know? But we were saying earlier on about gal. We're not seeing that anymore.
What fellas wasn't brushing their head, Cecil?
No, fellas.
You have to scrub your head.
Fellas cutting hair more often now. So guys are cutting hair much more than before. But before, gal was the in thing.
And mopion.
Well, I don't know about the mop.
But some fellas had things inside their hair, you know. You had to cut that hair, especially some fellas who were coming out from homes where it was not well kept. So they come with all that kind of thing inside their hair. So they had to cut that and pass blue soapy inside of that and Vaseline. Because some of them came with that as well, and that could spread in the school. So that is why they always had inspection on the first day of school to make sure everybody's well cleaned and you know, you're not spreading any disease in the school. The hygiene, as I said before, was very important. Very, very true, Cecil.
Boy, someone was telling me that she said that I remember the first day at grammar school having long jerry curl and got called out in assembly, and in the principal office, Mr. Lakou told me that I had to hair down. So can you imagine that you're going with jerry curls in school?
And Lakou?
And Lakou calling you and tell you have to have a hair down.
Hair down.
I mean, you have to cut that.
Yeah.
Jerry curls? That wasn't...
No, that wasn't the norm. Well, Cecil, when you reached primary school, did you remember what you get?
Primary school?
When your hair was cut, did any fellas put lash on you?
Boy, I get a few calots, you know. But the calots I get is like an indoctrination, you know, coming to the guys in higher class will give you a calot in primary school.
Oh, yeah.
And
did you put any calot on fellas?
Boy, several calots. You check, but when you give the calot, you have to run, you know. But the way we used to do the calot is not hard, you know, it's to just tap it.
No more fellas would give that to you. Yeah. When they give me my calot,
it
man,
depends, you know. If guys used to monitor who you are. If guys know you like to fight, if guys know you're looking like a bad fella, you know, they will determine what kind of calot
what you get. When a fella gave me a calot, I could hear that a mile away, you know.
No, that's crazy, man. Good evening.
Good evening to Mr. Joseph and Mr. Brain. Good evening to River Nick and the world.
Good evening,
Now,
sir.
Mr. Joseph, you talk about the thing about the worms, really and truly. I don't know. What become of that? I don't know about that. That disappear now. For next thing, you can make this to call scratch.
Yes.
Yes, they had that, yeah.
What become of scratch? That disappear. What was really causing these things now? And if I roll out now, you see you talk about the school, the kind of way children coming to school in high school, well and truly. You realize that was a way of discipline, but right now everything goes, and that's why the schools are having all these type of problems having. Up and running, fireman running, bless up, I'm listening.
Thank you. No, someone just said to me, girls used to use ponytails
Yes.
and bows.
And bows.
Where are these things?
Well, I mean, especially non-school.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have your bow.
Your bow had to be blue.
Yeah, blue and well tied.
And your ponytail had to be blue and colorless.
And Sister Bojel waiting for you.
For you check. Come to school and do have your blue bow tie. Your blue bow ties. Yeah.
At the back, you're tying your hair.
Your blue bow tie.
Yeah.
Come.
Yeah, man.
Come to school. You know what I'm saying?
That was a must.
And
Today we had that
ribbon,
now.
is to call it?
Yes.
Ribbon?
Yeah, you tie that.
It's ribbon, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Ribbon. Yeah, ribbon. The blue ribbon, not bow tie.
Yeah,
blue ribbon.
tied.
Yeah. Come to school without your ribbon.
You must have that.
Oh, let me tell you, sister, but just send you back home one time.
One time you go back home. So school was very well disciplined.
Yes. And no matter what school you went, right? Although the Rosa Boys School was a little ill-disciplined, but the first few weeks, you had to come with your blue socks.
Who was your principal? Froggy?
Boy, Froggy. Boys here. And you come to school for the first couple weeks. You have to have your blue socks and your black shoe and your khaki pants and your blue shirt.
All right.
Afterwards, we drop in the socks. You check? We drop in the socks. Because most times your mother buy you one pair of socks and sakasati. You can't put the whole sock. You can't put the socks for an entire week.
No boy, fella's
But you
monitoring.
have to come with your blue shirt and your khaki pants and your black shoe. You can do what you want.
You must have that.
You must have that. I don't understand that.
Right.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can somebody tell me about Bedford chess? To be since after Hurricane David, I never heard except as it Bedford chess not just disappear. That's what I wanted to find out.
Thank you. You're joking, man. Medicine chest. Every house used to have a medicine chest.
Oh, yes, man. Oh, yeah. Your medicine chest.
You have to have a medicine chest with your various medication.
Yeah,
in that
inside
chest.
there, you had your Fenzik.
You had Fenzik.
First,
you had
your
Andrews.
Your Andrews.
Andrews.
You have your Epsom salt.
Epsom's.
You have
not necessarily Epsom salt.
Yeah, we used to have that.
Epsom salt wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah,
in
my
medicine
mother had it. And then inside there, you had again your plaster.
Yeah, you have
Your
plaster.
bandages.
Yeah,
your Mokrio comb.
Let's talk a little bit about the Moriko comb. Moriko comb. I never could pronounce that one.
With the feather.
Moriko comb.
Morio comb.
Not Morio comb.
That's what I used to call it.
You used to call it Morio comb.
Yes.
Somebody must help us. What is Morio comb?
That's what I used to call it.
We used to say Moriko comb.
No, Morio comb I used to say. But you have the red thing and
Yes,
it's your feather.
and you
put on your
and you put in that in you put in the feather in the bottle.
Yeah, and
wherever the bobo is,
you pass it on.
outside of the dog. Outside of the dog. And you passing that Morocco comb
with your feather.
With your feather on
your
the
bird
bobo.
feather. Yeah.
Somebody said violet lotion. Vicks. So in the medicine chest,
yeah.
you have Vicks for cold.
For the cold.
Yeah. You have to have your violet lotion. Your what was that? Daryl, was that? Iodine.
Your iodine, yes.
Iodine.
Yes.
Oh, Iodex.
Your iodine.
Iodex.
No, Iodex. Your iodine.
Iodine.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So you have that.
It's Muricocum.
Okay.
Yeah, Muricocum.
Your MB powder.
Your MB powder. Yes, you have to have MB powder.
Mm-hmm.
Again, MB powder is for the bobo.
Yeah, for your bobo.
But I didn't like the MB powder for the bobo, you know. For me, when that stick on the bobo.
Yeah, stick on you.
That creating, making the bobo last longer. That's why I used to check it. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Joseph. Good evening, Mr. Brain.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, first off, I want to give an appreciation for all you and the Lakou program.
Thank
as
you.
usual.
Thank you.
You know, it's very influential, and you know, thank you very much. You know, I always, you know, what I like about this program. I like how we talk about the past, but we connecting it to what's happening now, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? The same in the spirit of Marcus Garvey. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yes. And I've been listening to the little discussion all you have. I want to talk a little bit about the hair stuff, you know, and where we are presently. You know, I know, you know, I talk about the comb and the hair, and, you know, and I remember I was born in 84, so I go to school in the 90s, and back then it still had the laws or the rules about hair, and you had to be a certain length, and I just think, like, at this point in time, where are we at with that? I want to check in on where we are with that, and how we have moved on, because I feel like in the past, you know, we put a lot of these rules in place because we were colonized, right?
Caller, you there?
We lost him.
Caller, you there? Caller's back again, caller.
Well, he was making a point there, Cecil, because people would say that in our days, you couldn't come to school with locks. But you know, for instance, with your locks,
You couldn't come with black talking about locks.
yeah, because you know, if you came to school with locks, your
You couldn't come
your
to school with
principal
locks.
would send you back
No, you
home.
couldn't come to school with locks.
But you know that people start talking about human rights,
Well, you
their
couldn't-
rights. But in
our
our time,
you couldn't come to school with locks.
yeah, because you couldn't come, so you couldn't come to. They would send you back home.
So we were asking for things that were in the medicine chest.
yeah,
And someone was saying soft candle.
soft candle.
You
Yeah.
know what soft candle was?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Boy, that soft candle, that was a masterpiece. You know?
What do you use it for, Cecil?
But especially if you get gangrene, if you have pus, they say pulling out pus.
Right. A boil
Boil.
to burst the boil.
Burst the boil. If you have a blast under your foot,
Feet. Yeah.
you know, you would pass the
Soft candle
on it, and it would help to
To get it ready.
get it better.
Better. Yeah.
You know, and so
Your iodex.
iodex.
For if you get a lash, a blow or something, so you have your iodex, so you could rub. You have to have that.
Yes.
Must have your iodex.
And you know, in that Bombija, you remember that Bombija.
What was that?
I try to remember what was Bombija.
I
know of the name. I know of the name.
Was it medical?
It's a medicine, Bombija. Someone help me to get a better
Bombija,
understanding of Bombija. I remember it. But you know, in that medicine chest, you know, everybody used to have a medicine chest to ensure that if somebody gets sick at home,
they can run to that.
They don't have to go to the hospital and run like how we do now.
Right, yeah.
Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The medicine is mercurochrome. The medicine you're talking about.
Moriochrome.
Moriochrome.
Mercurochrome.
Mercurochrome. And bombija. What was the bombija now?
Bombija was something you put it on hot sun and it is pulling you so much, and before you get a bruise and you tell you about bombija, you're starting to cry.
Okay.
Because it is pulling you, eats you up. But it will heal quick.
All right.
Bombijas and mercurochrome.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bombija. So you're
Bombija.
Yes. And I know of the name. I'm trying to
Right,
remember.
right.
I was just trying to remember, you know.
Right.
So at least he help us. Lima call. We forgot Lima call.
Yes.
For headache.
Man.
Lima call.
Biram.
And Biram.
Where you got the lima call from? Most of that came from Guadeloupe.
But Lima call came from Guadeloupe.
In that bottle.
No, we used to buy it in the pharmacy.
Yeah, but
By Green's Pharmacy.
we used to get ours from Guadeloupe.
Used to get your own from
Yeah,
Guadeloupe.
that nice little bottle.
And Alcalado.
Alcalado.
Yes. Alcalado used to buy in the pharmacy.
Right.
But the Lima call, I think we used to get it from Guadeloupe.
Guadeloupe.
Some people can help us to
The
to
lima
know,
call. You have your little bottle. Oh, that was, and you have that there. Everybody used to marvel at that.
Yes.
For when you have headaches, you pass that on your head.
Yes.
Your Biram, you pass that on your head. Pass that in the middle of your forehead. you know.
Well, the lima colors if you have a headache, right?
Right, you pass that.
Pass that.
Or they
Or
tie
sometimes
cuff
at
on
night,
it.
at night you bathe and they just to get
freshen
you
you.
cool, to make you cool. You know, they just give you a little lima col. Some person give you powder,
Oh yes, your Johnson baby powder.
Johnson baby powder.
You had that.
In those days, Johnson baby powder we knew. There's nothing else but Johnson baby powder.
Yeah.
Good evening to you, caller.
Yes.
Yes. I heard your name. I heard your name today, boy. Somebody called.
Who's
you.
that now?
Chicago.
Woo! Boy,
Chicago.
Chucky boy.
Tell us, what's your name again, Chicago?
What's my name again? Well, the man called my name. You hear my name. You hear my name on you. Real name. You hear it on you. I hate Aaron to do me them things.
Boy,
What is wrong with Aaron?
Aaron not do me that, man.
That name.
Aaron not do that.
But when the man called the name, I said, "Who's that Englishman?" The man
Who is
say,
that? Who is
The man
that?
says that Englishman. When I heard the way the man pronounced the name, I said, "It's an Englishman." And then the man said, "AKA Chicago."
Aaron not doing me that.
Wait,
Aaron.
Chicago, what's your name again?
Aaron,
My
not
bad,
sell
man.
your partner by the riverside and
My
messing
bad,
you
man.
up.
Chicago, what's your name again?
But
Chicago.
your friends that can do that then.
Chicago, what's your name again? Chicago.
Let me tell you that.
Chicago,
about
what's
that
your name
thing you're
again?
talking about.
What's your name, Chicago?
Boy, leave that alone.
Aaron, if you're listening to us, call us and
My
give us Chicago
name
name.
is for paper. I write my
Aaron-
name on a
Aaron,
paper,
you
you'll
mess
understand
Mr.
it. I don't
Buddy,
call
you.
my name.
Chicago. What are you
Let me tell you that.
Yes, go
We're
ahead,
talking
baby.
about the bomb the jazz. Leave the name business in peace.
Yes.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
tell that. Bomb the jazz is a thing. When you get a blast, like you make a mess up accident or something, and it had another one they call bull the mass.
Pull the
It's a wrong
mask.
thing. Yeah, it's a wrong thing. In a liquid sense. You see like how you have a the thing you make like a tea bag kind of thing.
Yes.
It was in a thing like that. It have a string,
Mm-hmm.
and you dip it in the bomb the jet and bull the mass, and you drink that like this to melt out any old blood in your system. So that is they call that we made bless. Like you get a mess up accident or so, you use the bomb the gel with the bully mass. What Mr. talking about the thing to rub and thing is iodine. You don't use bomb the gels for no cuts and thing. Come on, real thing, you know. Bomb the gels, bully mass. That they call that we made bless.
We made bless.
You get a mess. We made bless. Like you get a mess up lash, or you was in an accident, or you fall from a tree. You know, this kind of funny things there. Yeah, they use that to cleanse you out then. You know? So if you have any messed up thing on the inside, it could loosen you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get no clots and thing from the inside. So bomb the jazz, and then you're making a detail fake cutlet. You know? The bourgeois cutlet. I don't know if you know cutlet. It's a tree, it makes a kind of little orange, the stem, the vine of it, they kind of like orange. I've got the green leaf, but the orange stem. The vein of the leaf, then you get it orange. So you call that, you know, cutlet.
Is
And
it
you
the one?
make that
Is it the one that make the yellow flower?
Yes, cutlet.
I have it
Yeah,
at my home. I have it. Yeah.
right. That's all of them things that we made less. So when man talking about bomb the chest, it's a very good thing. Before you must have that in the chest, man. That is real thing. You know, sometimes a child get a bad fall, you know, and they get internal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So them thing is we made blessed. Yeah. Go ahead. I listen to you guys and good program. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Smelling salt.
Yes.
Turpentine.
Turpentine.
Remember turpentine?
Oh yes. Turpentine.
Boy.
Boy, look things.
Good evening.
Now the what you talking about Chicago, right? But you need some other herbs to make it. You know the fair cutlet alone. You need zaloca leaves and what you call the calabash here. You need them. You have to boil them together. And then you have to take a drop of bomb, just put 3 drops in it, and then use the bully mass. So the blood you get and make blood clot, it will dissolve it. Because the blood vessel, the tiny blood vessel, it can't function, so it just swell and the blood stay there. So the bomb will just melt it off. And then after they give you something to pass it out. That is the castor oil.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I think we need to get this kind of people to help us to come back to those good old days, to give us a class, show us the leaves, show us those old medication that they used to have, because they worked.
The thing about it, Cecil, you're asking, and a very noble ask that is.
Hold on, someone's on the telephone. Sorry about that. Good evening. Okay, go ahead.
Right, but the kids must be willing to learn. Because a lot of the medication or the bush medicine, myself don't know it.
I too.
Yeah, because all parents had a herbal garden. So you had your peppermint, your cime courtois, your basilic, your blue vivin. So you learnt the different type of bushes, but the kids no longer know them. They don't know what to do in case, they have to use something. Let's say if you have hypertension, you can take your blue vivin, or you can drink your glory cedar leaf. So there are different things. Or for instance, if you get something in your eye, people use plantain, but I don't know. A lot of the young people don't know the herbs.
Yes. And also to Florida water. Florida water came after.
Yes.
Florida water came after. Let's go back to the telephone quickly. Good evening. Sorry about that.
Oh, that Florida water, boy.
Good evening. Good evening.
Go ahead.
Listen to me.
Yes.
After a woman have a child, after the birth, they always have to take from the water the old blood.
Yeah, tell us what you have to take.
Well, you have to give an enema to wash out the blood.
Anemia, okay.
Oh, I put off the phone. I'm not so sure why. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening.
Is it DBS Radio?
Yes, that's DBS.
Yes. Good evening.
The burn, good night.
Auntie, how are you, my
Hey.
sister? Nice making connection with you again. I had to be on DBS for you to call me. Good evening anyway. But you gave me a go, Paul. I'll talk to you.
Your show has been so great, and I want to call and disturb you on the Monday night.
Okay, go ahead,
Mr.
Auntie.
Cecil, good evening.
Good evening to you.
I feel I love your program tonight. Talking back, oh boy, you will be back a long way back in these days, man. And I hear you saying calling a name there, it was Bob Frill. Bob Frill is the thing they used to put in the milk for the children to build up their body, to give them the strength.
In our tea.
That's right.
Sometimes
That's
we
right.
didn't
I didn't like it.
We didn't like it, so they put it in our tea. They used to cure us and put it in the tea.
But my mother used to put it in soup too for me.
And remember, you talk about it, so they used to put soft candle under the thing. When you have a splinter under your foot, they used to put halba. Halba is the wild dashing. They put the flower, like they have the pink one in your flower garden, they have the green and white one, you know that? It have the dig it, and you used to have a little, they call it halba, a little dashing in it, but it's kind of a yellowish, and they scratch it and put it under your foot, and they pull out anything on that, go straight into your flesh. It put it right up to the surface, just like the soft candle. But it's even better than the soft candle itself. And don't forget, they used to come in the cockroachy.
What's that?
What the cockroachy? What's that?
The cockroachy? In what?
Yeah, what
in soft candle?
You got nail prick.
In soft candle? Cockroachy in soft candle?
What is the cockroachy?
Cockroach, no?
Cockroach?
They should pong it. No, one dies for nail prick. Nail prick and when zinc and when guns van is to cut you. So it point to your flesh.
So cockroach talking about it?
Cockroachy, what is that?
Yes,
A bush?
cockroach.
Cockroach, I tell you, cockroach.
You
Yes, cockroach.
Cockroachy?
But I think cockroach and along with soft candle, you know.
One nail prick you. One nail prick.
With soft candle, right?
No, my grandmother, because one nail prick we use, you see, I was anytime nail prick me, I have to end up in the hospital.
The black one.
Is the black one? What kind of one? The black one or the red one?
The black one. The black one.
The black one.
The black one.
And they used to pong it and they used to tie it on the two way
that happened to me.
And it used to pull out all the infection from the foot.
All the blood.
What are you telling me now?
All the old blood.
Cockroachy?
That's why I tell you, the cockroach, they used to pong the black cockroach.
What you telling me?
Pong it with and they take hold on, caller.
You're excited, man.
No, yes, because I remember that.
They put it on you?
With the what you call that thing, the candle, soft candle.
Okay,
because when it's to burn the soft candle,
yeah,
and the soft candle coming on that, and you pong it, you pong that,
and you tie
that. By my next morning, everything pulling out and it's so hurt, right, caller?
Yes.
Breaking news, man. That's breaking news.
No, yes, all of us as boys remember the black cockroach.
Man.
The black cockroach.
Go ahead, Auntie.
And before you go back to school now, they used to put me a little, what do you call that, the warm grass. Squeeze it in the thing and the juice and give it to you with salt for the verb. But they didn't think I was it. That I was it. The fuck they used to do that. Back to school. Short.
Yes.
They used to call that. And then you see back, and you know when like back to school, your parents put you in the big basin. They scrub with the coke, take off your mouth. They scrub on your head everywhere. They scrub you very good.
But
and you know, to make a little teeth that wide, they used to take the little guava bush, pong it, and make it fine, and clean all between your teeth. Good with the
charcoal.
But Auntie, while they're bathing you naked now?
Yes.
But yeah, of course, they say needed a thing. The prefer time is not the type of corrupted mind they have these days, with this new generation. It's this generation that comes with a corrupted mind. Boys and girls used to be in and nothing going on. You forget?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
It's because the new generation, like way, this new generation and smartphone coming, all little phones and them gone to grass. Yeah. And everybody in their fat phone. You big people now, you see them walking on the road, it's text me.
Yes, I. All right then, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyway, good program. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you.
You remember Wapak?
Oh, the one that bitter?
Yes, but it's a cooling.
Cooling, yeah.
It's a good cooling.
Yeah, they sell it. There was a man they used to call that too.
He died now.
Yeah,
there's the other one that it's all about the place.
Bitter wood.
No, bitter wood. There's bitter wood for cooling, and there was this one I just didn't like it. It's too bitter. The leaf. They help me there.
Which one of them?
The one that has this yellow.
Oh, the kukuli.
Kukuli.
Yeah.
And there's another one that's by the gutter. Always by the gutter. It have a heart shape.
Oh, you're talking about cochlear.
Cochlear. Those things that we have to use that to really do some well.
Cooling out your skin and making it fresh.
It's really nice, and not nice in the sense. It's really good, for us as children.
Cooling,
up, yeah. That's what life was in growing up. Let's see what the person has to say. Good evening. Sorry about that caller. You have to call me back.
You ever use the charcoal to clean your teeth? No, they go for wood.
Yeah. All of us as boys.
What they did?
The charcoal. I don't know much about the guava leaf, but the charcoal, you used to put it in. You used to break the charcoal.
Like a bag.
Break the charcoal and put it in a bag, a little piece of cloth, and you just hold it and just brush your teeth with it.
So how make your teeth get white?
It helps you make your teeth strong. I know that for sure. Good evening. Good evening.
Cecil, the name of the wood is Wasin Pak.
Wasin Pak. That was the name of the guy too. Wasin Pak. Yeah.
Wasin Pak is the name of the wood.
Yeah, that's right.
Not Pakwood. Wasin Pak.
Wasin Pak. Because they fell in the name of
Wasin. Root, you know. It's a root.
It's a root. Yeah. Wasin Pak.
Yeah.
Yeah. The root. Wasin Pak. Thanks, man. Yeah. Wasin Pak. Boy. Do you remember cough? They used to pull out. Yeah, to used to pull out blood.
They ever cough you?
No.
I had a cough, you know.
No, I never.
With a razor blade, man, they cut me. They cuff the foot, man, for all the blood to come out. With a razor blade, you know, Cecil. They put the razor blade in on fire, and they cut it. My mother called me, I'm going to cuff it.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Yes, thanks again. I get cut off the first time.
Yes. Yeah.
But thank you very much, Mr. Cecil Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bird.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just talking about the charcoal. So I want to give you a quick story. As a youth man, as a little boy, my father used to bring me up in the Zion and my mother with the Rasta and them. And they used to brush their teeth with the charcoal. And I thought that was the weirdest thing I ever seen. How are you using something black like that to brush your teeth? You know? And then fast forward to nowadays, they have charcoal toothpaste. You know? So
and we buying it plenty money.
I'm telling you, I always tell people, no bias or nothing, but Rasta always been on that kind of higher level of like natural liberty and intelligence. But that was where, imagine as a kid, you going up in the Zion, in the coal pit, and they making coal, and then you eat, they cooking their food. And then you see them after they brushing their teeth with the charcoal. I say to myself as a youth, boy, that's that kind of, what they doing there now, you know. But, you know, you fast forward now, you have charcoal toothpaste, you have charcoal soap, all kind of thing, man, you know. So it's just to show we have the ancient liberty in us as Dominicans and knowledge, you know, and we just have to use it. But yes, but thank you very much. You know, I just want to say thank you all very much, man. I enjoy the program.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
But another one they used to bathe me with, when my mother do have soap, she taking a bush, you know, to wash me down in the country. And she saying that's a soap, you know.
Yeah.
But I said to my mother, is a mad woman, man.
No.
How she can take that kind of bush and soap me down?
Let's go to the telephone quickly. Good evening. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller. Sorry.
I wonder what the name of that bush
Let's
that
go
the
back again
woman
to the,
used
call,
to
to
use.
the telephone. Good evening.
Hello?
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Mr. Cecil is married, and don't forget, when you was a teenager and your sense that, you know, when you get into, you get like a scent and they used to show the bread, hot bread.
Boot cabwit.
What are you doing?
Put the bread to chauffer, and you have to check the bread hot underneath your arm, you know.
First
And then they said, you go and trade for a dog to eat.
What?
Go and give it to a dog to eat. So the scent can go away.
Serious?
What you saying here?
I know this. I know this. They put lime under my arm.
You hot bread under your arm?
Hot bread?
Yeah, hot bread. You to hold it hot as you can underneath your arm. And then when you feel hold it underneath your arm and you finish, they tell you go give it to a dog. You have to give it to a dog to eat.
What? You say you fool,
Back in
man.
those days.
What?
Someone like fool, man. You fall, man.
It maybe work.
Hot bread under your arm to take out scent and then you look for a dog.
Thank you, caller. But I just know what we should do. My mother should do. So you have to get
lime, I know.
Cut the lime and pass that under your arm.
You have strong scent.
Yeah, you have strong scent.
But I never
Well,
knew.
that's a, what do you call it? Boot cabwit.
Yeah, man.
You know, and you have to ensure that
You lime yourself up.
Yeah, you have to then get lime and
especially when you go into school and you have a strong scent, you know.
Those days we did nothing about roll on.
No.
Those days we tell our children use roll on.
Roll on. You use lime,
But
Cecil.
in our time we use lime. You check.
Wow.
Every little boy was smell like a boot cabwit. Yes, smelling like
And you
boot
just
cabwit.
when you go in school, you have your little lime. You rub up yourself and you lime up yourself. Okay.
Yes, I mean.
But you see how we have come a long way.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Right now it's roll on here, roll on there.
Roll on.
If you go and tell a young boy, pass some lime under your arm to cut the smell, they say, "Daddy man, eh?"
And the other thing is that, you know, blue soap. Blue soap was the in thing in our time.
Oh yes.
You check. Some people used to watch down on blue soap like as if blue soap is a poor man's soap. But we used to bathe with blue soap, wash with blue soap, wash clothes with blue soap.
Bathe with it.
Wash clothes with blue soap, wash plates with blue soap, bathe with it.
Yeah, it's a good soap, you know.
It's a very good soap.
Yeah.
I mean, blue soap has a chemical in it that's really good.
No, but they also say that when you use the blue soap is when you have lama wash too. You put blue soap on that lama wash.
Papa, they can sell. You're going to gel bushy, we only put many salve. Gel bushy, we only put many salve.
You must have your blue soap.
Yes, 11 o'clock in the night, bring your blue soap. Tutuni into the Mail River. You have to go to the Mail River.
Tutuni.
Lama
wash on your skin.
And you have to bathe upside down.
It's so.
Yes.
Man, you can die.
Your head have to face the sea.
Well, you can die there.
No, I'm up, yes. And you're beating your body.
You still beating yourself?
You have to beat yourself, my brother.
Boy.
And take out all the lama wash.
Wait.
Upside down.
The
blue soap.
Facing the sea.
You're naked. And they have to bathe you at 11 o'clock. Only pull up at 11 o'clock, eh?
Don't
let midnight take you. You have to be there for 11. I'm telling you, you have to be there for 11 o'clock.
Boy, that's a lot of learning, man. You learn a lot of things tonight. I learned a lot of things.
All young people talk about you learn a lot of things tonight.
No, well, Auntie says you have to have hot bread under your arm. That was you give it to a dog.
You know any Mail River in Roseau?
Live Canawe.
Live Canawe. It's a Mail River.
That's a Mail River.
Yes.
Where's the next one?
I know
The Roseau River, not
want to-
one.
No, Roseau River have too much distributors.
Lakou River, not one.
Lai River, no. River not one. Who let's have you then? I tell you one already, and the one is Life Ekanawi.
All right, okay, Papa. Well, that one, because you have 4 branches.
No, it's only one. Anyhow, it has. It's a male river. A male river must not have branches.
Okay.
You check. A male river must not have branches. It's just one river,
Okay.
one flow.
One flow. All
Yes.
right, we're learning.
No, Life Ekanawi, it drying up, so you can use it.
They will have to find a way to resuscitate it, man. Meaning to get it back
So
alive.
when you see people come and do mal on you, you just go in and get your blue soup. That's why I tell you blue soup was powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's very interesting.
You think so?
Oh, very interesting. So, Cecil, getting back to school was really, really, really something else.
Mm-hmm.
Really a tradition which we have lost. And, I guess it's a different form of getting to school now. Where the young children just normally get up, go to the shower, take a bath, and get ready for school, comb their hair, and move out.
You remember that, especially when you are sick, that you had to go and get the bushes before the sun comes down on them.
Take your time, Cecil.
When you're sick, in those days
Yeah.
sick, you used to have dew.
Okay.
Dew coming on the
plants.
On the plants. Before the sun comes out, when you're sick, you have to go and get the leaf that you need to get.
Okay.
The sun mustn't hit it.
Yeah, all right. Special made.
No special. You say special made, well.
Yeah.
And
you get it ready.
get it ready.
For you to drink?
No, to boil.
But you know a lot of things.
You don't need sun to
You
come
know
on
a lot of things, man.
You do not want the sun to come on
To
it.
hit it.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to boil it. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
draw it, not boil, or draw. You check? That's how it was.
That was how it was, man, in those days.
So someone just said to me, they're asking me if the river where the warehouse disco was.
Oh, yes, that's one.
Is a mill river.
It's a mill river.
Is a mill river.
Yeah, that one. Because Cecil, sometimes when I'm traveling, I seen a lot of people there in the motor. But I didn't know.
Which move?
In the
airport?
Masak.
By the airport?
Yeah.
Which move?
Yeah, towards the end by the
sea?
airport, man.
No,
But see a lot of
try
women bathing there, man. I didn't know
must
it was
have.
that, man.
Ah.
So I see some heavy Titanics there bathing. I didn't know. That was a male river, man. Now I will pay attention more to that.
Pay attention.
Yeah, I'll pay more
But you have to
attention.
find out that blue soap, and you have to find out that the red lavender and the savetita.
I didn't know because very often, almost every day now, says if you pass there, you'll see.
Even as a boy growing up, that 11 o'clock time is a very important time. 11 o'clock. You have to bathe if you're red lavender and so on to take out the according to people, the spirits.
You have to go at 11?
You have to do that at 11 o'clock,
Wow.
You sit down in the bath pan, or if you have a jacuzzi, you can sit down in your jacuzzi, and all your water.
Okay.
And you bathe, all your hair, everything.
Oh, so sometimes that, okay. But Cecil, man, that 11 o'clock business.
11 o'clock is important. As
But you just go inside there with all your ingredients.
Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, caller.
Cecil,
Yes.
what about Lakou at in the month of April?
Lagoon. Big.
Lakou.
Yeah.
Lagoon.
What
Lagoon chien.
what we used to use for Lagoon now? What we used to use for Lagoon?
You have 2 glands under your chin.
No, I know. What we used to use for
To
Lagoon?
cure that.
I don't understand you.
What we used to use for Lagoon to
The
cure
medicine to
Lagoon?
cure the medication.
They used to use 2 cashew nuts, tight in a rope and tight under your chin. Or they would have to take sandy fish and put in a cloth and tie under your chin. Hot to load on the swell under your chin.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakou.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, what someone said to me. If you get migraine and bad period, all right, you bathe in those rivers, but you have to wet your head before your feet. So that means you get a male river. If you get in bad periods or migraine headache. I want someone to try it and come back and tell me.
Yeah.
So you can go either in the river by
the Live Canaway or the one in Massac.
Live Canaway, I want them to know where. Underneath the bridge by
Cecil Hotel.
Cecil Hotel. Right there. The bridge before Cecil Hotel, the bridge after Cecil Hotel, wherever you're coming, north or south. So I want someone to try that.
So if you have a migraine headache, or you're getting bad periods, you must not let your foot.
Don't wet your feet before.
Put your head.
But you have to go wet your head first.
So what you do? You'll go on all fours then.
No, you might you remember you have the ground.
So your foot out
before your foot get into the water.
Yeah, so your foot outside.
Yeah, and you wet
you like a crap with there.
Yeah, and you wet your head. So I want someone to help me with that one.
Boy,
I want someone to help me with that one.
Boy, look, some strange behaviors.
You check, and people do those things, and
they always do that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, in those days, people were not going to doctor as we now do.
No, because the doctor was the bushman.
And that's what it was, and everybody found themselves. Some people believe in the OBI. They go to the OBI. Good evening.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I did not hear when the program started. When the program is tonight?
Mr. Breen?
Beside the other guy here.
No. We don't have anybody for tonight.
We don't have anybody. We're taking calls.
Okay, so you just picking up in.
Yeah, and we're taking calls. People make their contribution.
Anyway, good evening.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you. Well, I just can't get a call at all. Bring a bowl or bucket and pour the water on your head. That's another way.
So you see innovation. Calabash.
Or calabash.
I agree with you, man.
And pour the water
you
on your
just
head.
dip it in
and then after, take your blue soap and
go inside with your foot.
But you must go upside down. Boy, whoever came up with the idea of the Lakou show, that was an excellent idea. Well, I was the one who came up with the idea.
You were
to tell that person, because we have to talk about the good old days.
Yeah.
BB and what? Good night, Cecil. BB and what's that? Listeners, I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. I'm caller, but yes, Brain.
Yeah.
You remember in our time growing up, the witch doctor was a very popular person. The Obia man.
Right, but in Africa, the witch doctor is very important. The Obia man is feared here,
Yes.
The Obia man is a feared man,
When you go by the man, he asks you, what do you come for? No.
Yeah. Because there's a fella, boy, I tell you, Cecil, there's a fella in Goodwill. There's still one there, There's still one there. I don't want to know the name. He's still there.
Where? No, the one in Memphis didn't die.
No, there's another one.
Who's that one?
An ex-soldier.
Ex-soldier?
Ex-soldier. He served in Vietnam.
So which part of Goodwill?
I'm not telling you.
Memphis Lane?
But he's still there.
Solomon Lane?
An ex-marine who fought in the war in Vietnam. He's still there, alive and kicking. But the one down there in Casablanca, I know he's dead.
The one in Casablanca is dead, yes.
Yeah, because
he was popular.
Oh boy, this man. Go by Mr. Man.
He was popular.
He was popular.
And the one in Memphis was very popular too.
Well, there's one greater than the one that died. That one is great. But I'm not going to disclose him.
Let me tell you.
He's a Vietnam veteran.
People say Guadeloupe was strong, but Guadeloupe is to leave Guadeloupe. Guadeloupeans will leave Guadeloupe and come by fire.
Yeah, well, that one is bigger than him.
That one you talk about bigger than fire?
Oh yeah. He's just very humble, but you'll never know.
But fire was good. Fire was good.
Well, Mr.
I want to make it known I never went by fire.
Yeah, we'll make it known. But that one, he would have a lot of his craft in Asia. Yeah, remember he served in the Vietnam Army, in the American Army in Vietnam. So I'm not going to disclose his name, but he's there. There's still quite a number of them on the island.
Well, I heard them guys just using cards and so on. But then that's their business.
That's not my business.
Well, I'm not saying we're talking about the Lakou. That's what a lot of
but there's not only
that's what a lot
men.
of our parents in the Lakou used to do. Anything that happened,
Yeah.
to
Not
their
only men,
children-
there's women too.
Yeah, don't talk about that. Good evening to you, caller.
Brain, leave the ex-soldier alone. You used to go there too. Right? Your friend. Don't try nothing.
So Brain went by ex-soldier.
Leave the ex-soldier alone. You used to go there too. Me are telling you that.
So hold on.
Right.
For you to know Brain went to the ex-soldier. You went there too, you know.
I telling you, I know he used to go there. That is his partner. He's his partner.
Okay.
So he cannot go there. Leave him man in peace.
Okay, Papa. Let him rest. He finish war. He's a retiree.
Good evening to you. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Joseph and Mr. Brain. That's Kojak.
Kojak.
Yo, I mean, you're great shit, but you guys realize, man, I mean, those days you're taking all them things. You realize people used to live longer, man, these washouts and all these things. We think we were raising poor back in the days, but that was richness, you know, bro.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That was richness, my brother. People, remember when we used to live 7 days straight and go and visit the hospital? It's a handful of people that used to be in the hospital. People used to live of old age, bro.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We in Dominica crying about healthcare. Dominica go, hey, no, you know, health begins with you, the individual.
That's correct.
When our mother used to cook back in the days was celery, chive, parsley, onion, garlic cook. Today you have Larry seasoning salt. You have onion salt, garlic salt. Them things that is death.
Yes.
When we were growing up, we never know wheelchair selling cooked food or Astafan selling cooked food. We never had no KFC, so that's why we're hurting today. Before we get a little cold, we running by jollies, we run by the ticket. Everything is in the bush. When God created, He put everything in the Garden of Eden. The bush have no side effects. When you have cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, you take things for high blood pressure, then your man who cannot stand up. People don't realize that to go back to that thing, man, original.
What happened to high blood?
All that Bovril, all that thing we used to eat that was health, bro.
Let me ask you, Coach, you mean this thing for hypertension affect you down there?
Hey, bro, you crazy? That for diabetes, all that thing, even the women is making them numb. But that is a killer. As I told you guys before, the third leading death in America is by diagnosis from doctors, brother. You understand? I know what I say. You know, it's written. You catch a little cold, you catch a little COVID, they give you all kind of a thing to take. You understand? That original thing, man, that bush, I'm telling you, that bush, that semi-cotton, that basilic, them thing, it look like we were poor when I was drinking them thing before you go to bed at night. No, bro, we are healthy set of people, not realize, you know, good we are it. Today only have some long line in KFC, or come on, man, but deaf that way. Anyway, keep up the good program, the good show.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Boy,
Yes, boy.
You see, and it's important that we make note of that, because we as parents, we are not teaching our children what the values of what we got when we were growing up.
But we say it's old.
Yeah, we say it's old. It's not good.
It's not good.
But it helped us. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes,
hello,
you're
live, yeah?
Hello?
Yes,
hello,
good evening, you're live.
Yes,
live.
greetings.
Greetings.
I trying to continue from the last caller there. Because I sit down here listening to the program, and it begs us to ask the question ourselves. Ask ourselves the question. Where did we lose all these traditions?
Oh.
We sit down here and we still blame the youth.
Great question.
As though the youth are the cause of what's happening. And we haven't asked ourselves the question, if our parents or mothers or grandmothers taught us these things, what have we done as people who lived in the 60s and 70s in the school times? What have we done personally to further that education. I think we have lost it because all our people at those times were bombarded by American propaganda and American things that just push us off our line and our culture. So we have to go, we lose all the traditions, but things evolve. And some of the things that of the past could have evolved if we had studied them, taken note of them, and pushed it forward. But we allowed ourselves to be influenced by things on the outside. And that caused us to be responsible for losing that part of it. We cannot blame the youth today because of what is happening now. Another thing that I want to advance is Rastafari. We spend all our time degrading and downpressing Rastafari because of first impressions being lasting impressions. Not knowing that what Rastafari was really talking about are those very same things that what Rastafari was trying to deal with was those very same things that we're talking about now. That culture, to reawaken that consciousness. And instead of doing that, we spend our time belittling Rastafari, calling Rastafari. Now it is in the time where we see the importance of those things in our lives. We see the importance of we being able to live a much more simpler life if we are taking that thing seriously. And we would not be everybody scratching their heads as to how to turn, how to move. Everybody living beyond their means because we're moving away from that simplicity of life. So I want to bring forward those two things as ideas that we could bring the reasoning now to the point of where have we lost it? Where? Thank you.
I like that question. Where have we lost it? And he made the point that things are evolving. You know, evolution has changed other things. And by virtue of the fact that things are evolving, people want things quicker than time gone by.
When he talks about evolving, the thing about it is that you must transfer the culture.
Yes.
The culture must be transferred from one generation to the next, and one other generation adds on to it. So you build on your culture. So those values that he's talking about is values we lose because we are not paying attention to the transfer.
While we are not paying attention, he made the point of the American culture and how it was able to suck us in. Because you remember when DCP used to do this
soap.
No, this oil, the coconut oil.
The coconut oil.
It was told to us that was a bad oil because it was creating cholesterol around our hearts. And so it would have increased the chances of getting blood clots and heart attacks. And it really sent the coconut oil. I remember as a boy growing up that we used to buy the coconut oil in this Gordon's gin bottle,
yeah.
You know? And all of a sudden coconut oil disappeared. But today we are hearing doctors are saying to us that we should be taking coconut oils. So it is very good that he made that point as to where did we lose all of this.
No, but the thing about it, where's the castor oil? He's talking about coconut oil. But in the old days, people went around collecting the castor oil, putting it to dry, and making castor oil to put in your hair and also to rub.
And those things are important, as you're saying that. We spend quite a lot of money in purchasing lotion, body lotions, creams.
Yeah.
But the coconut oil, where it's processed in a natural way, boiled, and you suck out the oil from the coconut, you know, which is very good for us.
Well, you can make your own coconut oil at your home.
At your home. And we have found ourselves, losing that.
And your castor oil you make at your home.
Yes. Good evening to you, caller.
No, as a fireman, it's like I'm going to little fire, but as the Rastaman them say, it's so correct. Because well and truly, the biggest problem we have, as I tell you, and you're going to write on that, is the philosophy and the culture they bring into us. We have to follow. Now we have a mind of our own, we can think and analyze ourselves. When you watch it well and truly, the really country self, born and raised, as we know. And right now, all women have long nails. all manner of different forms. So obviously your culture must disappear from you, you know. Because if you have nothing in the soil to create what you are, in other words, you do, when you plant what you eat, you have in an alkaline body. When you order in things, everything you order in, right? You're making food. So you have a problem. So that's how right up to the sickness. But not bush is herbs, as the brother say. We don't have no bush. Herbs is medicine. But now Cecil is saying something about Obia. You see, Obia, I was in Jamaica and I met some elder ancient man from Africa and in Jamaica. And Obia is not evil. Obia is our culture. Is evil. Evil. What them man and them was doing there eventually, these things is evil because nothing you're doing to discriminate in humanity. That cannot be good. That is evil. Obia is a thing, my lord. When you have a problem, I'm going to do the sickness, you have to use herbs to heal your body. That is Obia and a lot of different things. But otherwise, before I roll out, you see a new thing again, before I roll out. You know right now, in church have, how they call it, the machine, how they call the machine there?
What machine?
The machine you put in your card, how they call it that?
ATM?
ATM?
No, yeah, I don't do that in a rasta. I don't do that in a...
You found an ATM in church?
Thank you. I go to a pastor invite me to a church, right? So when I go to the church, I tell him personally now, I realize everybody collect in the morning in Jesus' name and he don't have no account in Jesus' name. So I tell him that I want to get my name self involved in the account business. But what happened now in the service, there's a whole heap of people in church. So when the collection fast, you realize now, you don't get nothing really and truly compared to what your customer getting. Because everybody say, it's that there, boy, next week, the man bring a machine in church, right? Boy, let me tell you something, boy, not serious. Up and running, fireman running, that's what I'm listening.
Fireman, that one have to be
No, fireman, fireman, you don't make that. You mean right now, fireman, you're telling us that pastor and fellas and them bringing, swiping things inside the church? So if you can't bring tithe and offering, you bring your card? No, fireman. We have to investigate that. That's breaking news.
No, but you see, Brain, let us look at what we as boys, when you were growing up, what we did. The things that we did. I mean, look at our children. They only stay home and on the phones and on the devices.
Let me tell you.
And they don't go to the river. They don't send a stone bear and a coconut and a coconut
They
tree.
are becoming blame in their own homes. Because basically they get hooked to the tablet or to the computer or to the television. So they don't go and run. They don't exercise. They don't swim in the river. How many times you go in the river and see fellas swimming in the river now? They don't swim. So the computer, they play the football on the computer. They play the cricket on the computer. They play video games on the computer. So there's no need to leave the room. So they lock up in a room.
Someone said to me, yes, he's correct. You can swipe now in church.
You can swipe now in church?
Yes.
What are you talking about now? So
someone said, yes, Brain, the caller is right. And that person said, yes, that's true.
Since when church comes, sir?
So you mean church become commercialized now?
So Cecil, so if you don't have your $10 and you have your card, you mean what is going on? What is going on, Cecil? What is happening to us? Where?
Someone said, good night. We have it in Antigua.
What?
This was very clear.
They have it in Antigua?
The person said they have it in Antigua.
Well, just start reaching here, man.
Boy. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller. You're live. DBS.
Please, I'd like us to take a really concentration on the youths and cell phones and these things. That's not going to bring us nowhere. That's what the youths and them born in. So we cannot blame them. Let us look at ourselves and what did we do. For example, how many of our rural people, rural farmers, taught their youths to do farming? Or even more crucial, I say, run them away from farming. Those kind of things. What have we taught our own children? Brain, for example, have you taught your children all those values and all those things that they could continue going ahead with it? If we haven't done that, and the school itself hasn't even propagated those kind of messages, don't blame the children. Blame us for setting a bad example. Thank you.
Right. Let me check him out.
And I want to agree with the caller.
Well, I can't agree with him.
I'll tell you why. I want to agree with the caller. And I want to blame society for the things that it has done. When we grew up as boys and girls, as children knew the only responsibility that we had was to go to school and learn.
Right.
That's the only responsibility. And all other responsibilities were laid in the hands of our parents. So our parents had to make sure we get lunch, our parents make sure we get supper, make sure we get school uniform, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, today, we have not given or stretched a hand to our children to say to them, this is what we need to do to survive. And even when we try that as parents, you're hearing society saying that it's abuse. When you tell a child that that is my room or that's my house, that you have to do some work in the house, the child will say to you, I'm going to warn the police with you. I have my rights and my responsibilities. And my right and my responsibility is not to really wash the plates at home. So society itself has caused us as parents to even lose the focus on really helping in the development of our children.
Well, let me just answer that question. In fact, I'm reading from a junior secondary program and what is now technical and vocational programs. So the school plays a very integral part in culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, for instance, there are vocational skills that's being taught at school. Agriculture is being taught. I know many schools that have their greenhouses. In fact, I know Mr. Ambrose George, I was with him, and some other people where they're establishing greenhouses around schools, where they plant vegetables. I know some schools have their school gardens. So in the technical and vocational programs, and before the GSP, there is agriculture. So agriculture is being transferred. Not only that, there are, I know, for instance, many school children visit farms, different farms that's around. So I know that agriculture, in fact, is something that they cannot say they don't know. The thing about it is that in agriculture, people don't see agriculture as something that could benefit them because traditionally we're thinking of white-collar jobs, doctors, lawyers, engineers. We don't see agriculture as a profession that can bring you money. So it's a question of the values, but to say that agriculture is not being taught and people don't teach their children the value of agriculture is something I can't buy. Agriculture is what keeps the nation alive by the foods that we produce and sell in the markets. So agriculture plays a very important role. And now, with all the technical and vocational programs, agriculture is one of the main things that I know they teach, both not only at the primary level, but at the secondary level and tertiary level. So that's another thing. For instance, electricity is another thing that, being taught. Woodwork is another important thing. So, in other words, the new programs that they have and those programs before, the schools definitely play an integral part in transferring cultures. The music is another big thing. So, I think the question is, where did we lose it? The advent of television.
But in my period going to school, there was television. Brain, I want you to know that.
But what the programs were?
The programs was censored. They were censored. Let's be upfront. There were a few channels that we used to have, and there are a few channels that we couldn't have at all.
That's right.
At a certain time, at the very beginning of television, at a certain time by midnight or so, there's no television. The television company would be off. It's when
you have 24 hours of television.
When CNN came in 1980, we saw 24 hours of television.
And not only one channel.
And not only one channel.
Hundreds of channels.
Right. But it's a repetition of programs that they're doing.
Programs.
But yes, while television would have played a part, as the society itself, we didn't take charge of what we had to do.
What local programs are we producing? In terms, for instance, where you have programs dealing with agriculture, how many of the programs cater for local programming?
Good evening to you, caller.
Cecil.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Adam. I tend to support Mr. Shaw in what he said. Right. I'll tell you why. You see the new generation of parents we have right now, they will tell their children, I don't want you all to do like me.
True.
To till the soil and do this and do that.
That's very true.
Let me tell you something. If you notice now, the result that came out for this year's CX exam, they're going to insist next year, and Mr. Adams know that any child who writes CX next year, you must have a skill component, because all we have been doing is teaching children academics. And what Mr. Shaw is saying there is quite correct. I'm not saying Mr. Adams is not right about agriculture. We depend too much on academic and not teaching the children the basic skills of life. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I can go further on. Because I know, for instance, within the school system, there's agriculture, there's clothing and textile, there's nutrition, there's electricity, there's plumbing, there's woodwork, there's technical drawing, there's auto mechanics, there's arts and crafts. I know that the school system has those components. And with the advent of the new Goodwill Secondary School, it's going to be a center of excellence where a lot of those programs will be included. But I know a lot of the secondary schools have those programs. So to say that those programs are not being taught is not true at all. The thing about it is one of the issues is how do we generate more local programming to let people know what we're actually doing in terms of, getting the young people to appreciate that agriculture is a science. You can make a lot of money doing it. And so that's a very important aspect. Clothing and textile is another very important thing.
But a lot of the times, what we have to also try to transfer to the students is that the energy that is taken to do this is an exercise too. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah.
Yes, that might be my last call. I think we're gloating over this. We're just scratching the surface of this topic, eh?
Yeah, we can go into further details right in another some programs.
You have to deal with the reality of things. And the psychology is driving us away from agriculture. It's going to be very difficult for us to produce these kind of skills, these kind of people. I'm not saying that these things are not being taught. I mean, that's far from being true. I can't say that. But have you done a survey to find out of all the agricultural people who did agriculture in schools, colleges have gone and advanced into that field? You realize that we have an aging population of farmers that putting us at a serious disadvantage.
That's correct, yeah.
You realize that
we know that.
Of the nations that even live in the island, most of them who do agriculture.
Yes,
so
that's true.
That is just, we have to deal with the reality of things and not just float over the surface and talk over it and say, yes, generally, it is being taught and everything. But how many of us are moving forward in that direction? We are not being taught. And share next example. How many of our people have taken the knowledge of herbs that our grandparents taught and evolved it, push it forward to another level? Instead, we only rely on modern medicine, but we have to mix the old with the new at all times in life. We can't just discard the old, because the old is very, very, very important and very beneficial, and which is a very cheap source of healing when you have to spend millions of dollars importing drugs into the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Important point.
Very, very important.
Very important point. But he made a very important point, and the population is aging, and therefore farm labor is a big thing that has been discussed, because the farm labor has to be regularized as well. Where, like in the United States, when people come to work on a farm, they live on the farm. So that you don't have any migrant workers coming to work on farms and disappear when you're looking for them. They're not on island. They've migrated to another island. So these things have to be regularized, and those farmers who want to have farm labor must be serious about what they want. So these are very important.
But coming back to the program, Brain, in reference to the things that we happen to have had in growing up, our parents would have been taught by their parents. Unfortunately, our parents did not teach us all of what we had to know. All right? So the small things they taught us. So they'll tell you what was required for you if you get a bad stomach, what to do. If you have a headache, what to do, and so on. But many of the times, the plans and that is required for us to do what we require to do for the healing of the person or the individual, we're not taught to us to say, Cecil, this plant, if you use it, this is the name of the plant, if you use it, it's good for... I remember that there was this white plant. It was where the Astafans has their parking lot.
Mr. Blanchard.
Mr. Blanchard.
Right.
Desmond Blanchard's father
had the flower.
Had that white flower.
Yeah,
there.
for eye.
For eye.
Yeah.
And we would have taken that white flower, again, ensure that the dew
did not hit it.
That's what you were talking about earlier on. That the dew did not hit, the dew would have gone on it and the sun would not have hit it.
Yes, that's right.
And so we would have taken that white plant, put it in some water, draw it, and wash your eyes, and all the, as we normally say, lassie.
Only impurities,
the impurities would have been removed from our eyes and cleared. So these are the things that we are talking about. Now, when you get a bad stomach, your parents would say to you, get a young guava
leaf and chew it.
And chew it, or get a young guava leaf, burn bread, put it in the water, with the young guava leaf and drink it.
It was transferred to me, and I transferred it to my children.
Right. They would tell you that if you're going to eat a banana and you don't want to get a bad stomach, take that banana and pass it around your navel.
Right, that.
So we learned that. They would tell you that if you want to get your children to sleep early, that you get some soursop leaf or lime leaf. And you have to get it in the odd numbers.
Right.
3, 5, 7.
Right.
In the odd numbers, and you give it to your children. But when it comes to the bigger things that is required for us to do, we were not being given the necessary training. And you find that some of us still hand on the things that we were taught by our parents to our children. All right? Right now, for us, when we look at banana, I can eat a banana at any time. And we know that our parents back then tell us after 6 o'clock,
don't eat bananas.
Don't eat bananas.
Right.
Once upon a time, they told us that pineapple is very bad.
Right.
And that if you eat pineapple, to cure yourself, you have to get the pineapple skin, boil it to get better. All right? And I'm saying these are some of the things that we have to try to teach our children. We were taught very early to drink a lot of water. And we said that water is a very big healer. If we had headaches, you drink water. And we knew of what we can do for what we can do with soft candle. So a lot of those things were actually taught to us. But there are some other, especially the names of leaves, or even to know the leaves, it's a problem for a lot of us.
Well, no. The thing about it is that the home and the school have to work hand in hand. It's the school and the community, So, for instance, you have a certain leaf. There would be a biological name for that. But you also have the local name. So even you have you're teaching science, then the students will have to know some of the biological name or the botanical name for the plant. Right? So botany. So they would the scientific name and the local name.
But many times these elderly people didn't know the biological name.
No, but they would know the local name.
They don't know the local name.
Local name. But you can go further to tell them what is the biological name for the plant. And I know one of the things that Mr. Allington James did, was to highlight a lot of the local herbs and the names. I know Miss Penelope Honeychurch, I think, did that. I know there was another guy, Sebi, who lived in Point Michel for a long time, trained fellas like Bobby Frederick, Bobby Olivache, who is now a bush doctor. So I know a lot of the things. I know, for instance, that woman has been speaking a lot about it.
Also taught disciples now deceased.
Right, yeah. So a lot of fellas got trained by Sebi. And so we just have to find those books, begin to expose them to our children at school, maybe not even at secondary level, but even at primary level, to get our students to begin to understand the value of local medicine, like our herbs, and to help them to understand it and some of the medicinal benefits for their use.
But that's important, brain, because we have a society that depends quite a lot on artificial things, and we have some of the things around us. We have the bushes, we have the leaves,
right,
that can really help in so many different ways.
But you made a very important point. For instance, American propaganda or propaganda of the West can affect us as well. You remember the issue with bay leaf, the bay oil.
Yes, yeah, the bay oil.
We suffered a lot in terms of the negative aspect being pushed on bay oil, and the industry almost collapsed because of that situation. We had the situation of marijuana. We can't hide it, where a lot of our marijuana was destroyed, only to find out that the Americans were growing it in greenhouses. Right? You had this fella, Mike Tyson, the famous heavyweight champion, have a lot of greenhouses where he's producing marijuana and selling marijuana for medicinal use. In Jamaica, one of the professors there in Jamaica is a Dominican who is helping to push the marijuana industry in Jamaica. So the West itself has done a lot in terms of how we are oriented in thinking about some of the things that we use. So we have to be careful. So we have to really educate, stay focused in time, transfer the culture. So there's a lot of discussion that will take us years.
But I still believe, though, that some of the things need to be taught to our children. But there's also some disadvantages on those things, because a lot of the times we do not know, one, what is the dosage that we must take.
Very important.
We do not know it. So we tell people 3, 5, 7, 9, but we cannot definitely say if you put 5 ounces of water that you need 1 leaf or 5 leaves. We do not know.
And when to take it.
And when to take it. Even in reference to digestion, we cannot say that if we take a fruit, there are particular fruits that will take 24 hours to digest. No, we do not know the fruits, and by virtue of that, our parents at that time may just tell us, okay, eat this and eat that at that time, and not knowing what the
dosage is.
The dosage is supposed to be.
When it's very important.
And when you should take it.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Because certain herbs,
I think the caller was making that point.
Yeah.
That's what we need. That's what we needed to do, was to make some study, make some research.
Research on it.
And by virtue of doing that, we would have had a greater understanding as to how to disseminate that kind of information to our children. Our children would have known, or we would have known at that time when our parents has given it to us, the importance of it, and then we'd have done the study, so our children today would have had it in the palm of their hands.
But the caller must also remember that there was a fight between traditional medicine and modern medicine.
Yes.
What do I mean by modern medicine? Our doctors, the pharmaceutical companies depend on making money. The traditional herbalists would tell us, well, don't take that tablet, but you can take that herb. But there was a big fight, and they know that, between traditional medicine, which is our local medicine, our herbs, and those men trained in medical school.
And remember this guy, Sebi, when he was in Dominica.
The fight.
He was actually deported.
Right.
Because they felt that he was fighting
the way that doctors were going to lose money and the pharmaceutical companies. Right. So there is a big fight between herbal medicine, still going on. So it's not a thing that is an easy thing. So that is something where people will have to understand that pharmaceutical companies depend on making money, and therefore
and that's why
there's a fight.
And that's why the Lakou is very important, to really help us to have an understanding, because in the yard we did quite a lot of things in the yard. We learned to play steel pan, we learned to quarrel, we learned to fight, we learned to come together, we learned so many different things. We became street smart. So the Lakou played an integral role in every one of us' life, those of us who lived the Lakou life. But at the same time, there are some things when we were taught in the Lakou that if we were given a greater opportunity, would have done more research to ensure that we do it better, like as we're speaking right now.
Right, but this is why cultures are transferred, and therefore it is important that we as parents and we as teachers, because remember the school. People look at school as only an institution whereby you only go to a classroom or a building.
Not so.
But it's not so. It's the school, the parents, and the community, because we're actually training children at the school for the community.
That's facts.
So there has to be a relationship between the two of them. So this traditional thing that we grew up with, the steel pan, I know for instance, even steel band, and the steel pan has been taught at school. A lot of children learn to play steel band at school. A lot of children learn to drum at school. So there's a lot of the arts and crafts is where that culture at school has been transferred.
And it is showing a greater advancement for the educational system, because once upon a time, we all are aware that our parents, if we say we're going to learn to play steel pan in a pan yard, our parents will tell us, ça va faire l'argent, ça va les faire ça, pour qu'ils aient steel pan ou les jouer. So they would create that negative. Now I'm happy to see that today, that by the value of technology, that we can take greater advantage on pursuing what our dreams would be.
Yeah.
So the caller was so right when he made mention of how we could advance ourselves. We didn't take advantage of it. Good evening to you, caller.
It's not Mr. Sebi, you have to call him Dr. Sebi. My lord, you know well and truly, one of the greatest man that passed in our time, Dr. Sebi. I telling you, that one of the greatest man that passed in our time. But well and truly, watch it well, Mr. Joseph, as the brother said, and that's what he said. All what we're talking about here, the foods we're eating is one of our biggest, largest problem. Now, number one, watch that. That's some folks they call them layers, right? No, well and truly, male and female have a different energy. There is no way in life that these things there, well and truly, just bringing eggs and bringing fowls. Watch them fowls. Before they stay about 3-4 months, they look like them to fall down. What the local fowl? You see me 40 years, I don't think them thing well and truly, I don't think to eat certain things. But it has certain medicine that are good for certain people, because the type of food they eating, they have to use this type of medicine. According to your food you're eating, you have to use herbal medicine, because it don't make no sense you're going to use herbal medicine and eating the same food and think you're going to get cancer and you have a serious problem. Tell the world like that. You know what I'm telling you? So get it straight. It's how you eat. Right now there, as I say, it have two bodies, an acidic body and an alkaline body. Acidic body is what people are making and eat. Alkaline body is what you plant and it's from the soil to the pot, well and truly. So you get healthy body. My lord, up and running again. Fireman, when I'm listening. What you eat is our problem. Get it straight.
Thank you very much. Let's go to another caller. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening.
Yes. No, on the marijuana side, if you only look at the medical side of it, but there's another side of it, You understand that? The other side of it is what is called more value than that, because you could get milk, you could get cheese, you could get aviation to fly the plane, you could get fluff, what you call sexual to the fluff, rope, and the nutrition part of it, you just forget it. It has more value than the medical value talking about there, because they want to carry money, but there's other way of it. We haven't go for that yet. The nutrition part of the marijuana. Do that is with one seed a day. One seed a day, but I with our marijuana seed and sowing for the whole day. So it's more than just the medical part of it. The nutrition part of it I have to mention too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, Brain, even looking at once upon a time, we used to go home to have lunch. The hour was looking long. So you'd find people leaving their homes, roads would close at 1 o'clock to be back at 2 o'clock. People would leave home and they would get home and eat their lunch. Today, you have fast foods, that's fine. You have restaurant, that's fine. You know, but what do we know that they? How do we know that they prepare that meal for you to eat? What are the ingredients that are being used in the meal that you're going to be eating? That if you do it at home, to be safer.
Well, we change our culture too, you know. That is before, when a man was going to work, he had his career. You know what a career was?
Mm-hmm.
With your different layers, you carry your wife or your woman cook your food for you. You take it to work.
Mm-hmm.
But now people just want not to cook. It's faster for them. So they leave their work and they just go by a restaurant or whatever. They don't know how the food is prepared, and they want to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So the time that they're spending, they no longer want to spend cooking.
Mm-hmm.
There is a problem too, and we have to face it. Women don't want to spend time cooking anymore, you know. Yeah? I mean, they might not like me to say that, but I'm noticing that by observation. I've not done a scientific study on it.
So are you saying that when women were staying home to see about children,
you get the drift, man.
Our society was a better society?
You get the drift. But I cannot say that now. I mean, women will take me over the calls.
No, I'm asking that what you're saying.
Well, no, I don't want to say that, but it is pointing in that direction, in that you have a lot of our women now who are earning their own money. So the time that they would have to spend, let's say they're working from 8 to 1, they go home for lunch, at 2 o'clock they go back to work. When are they going to cook? Whereas before they would have to cook. Their husband coming home or their boyfriend coming home, they have to stay home and cook. Who cooking? What time will they wake up and cook? So society itself has changed, you know, in terms of the emphasis, because women are now saying within their society that the men are not looking after them, they're going to look after themselves. So society itself has shifted.
So you're saying the life on the Lakou was a better life then?
Well, one can say that.
Because in the Lakou,
your mother was at home, you know.
The man went out there to fend, and the mother
stayed
home to prepare and train the child
and to look after the child,
to train the child,
and to train you.
I don't want to say look after the child, train the child. The father was the correcting instrument.
Yeah, he
was the rod to the family. When he comes home and you hear the voice of the father,
he went to work.
Yeah, he went to work, and when he came home, a child did anything,
you
hear mother say, Philip, kite mo diu, that child already. And when you hear the child say, Cecil, come here. When you hear the father says, Cecil, come here, you're already wondering, oh my God, am I going to get
your mother was at home, you know,
and
when you came.
Home.
Right. My mother was at home. So society has changed, and the tradition, we have to begin to adjust in terms of the reality of what we face, because quite a number of women are gainfully employed, and some of them have attained high positions, permanent secretaries, high managers, and right now, based on the tradition of our society, they are now the ones who are actually driving the family, you know. Or men are no longer in control, you know. I mean, this is another big discussion we can have. But the traditional society, in terms of the Lakou, has shifted. The paradigm has shifted. The women are now in control.
Because you in a sense, you are right. Because when growing up, the woman was the one, if you're sick at home, the woman was the one who would have gotten the medication for you. She would have been the one to know how to diagnose. She would have been the one who knows exactly what to do if you are sick. The man wasn't the playmaker at that time.
So boy, you see what has happened in your lifetime.
So thinking, let us really critically think of it. The work and the job that the woman did while she was home was very important for us.
The balance of the family, but she's no longer there at home. Quite a number of women are in the workplace, not only in government positions, but in high positions. They have educated themselves, and they are now, in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be in total control. Well, that's the reality of the Dominican society.
No, not the Dominican society. Society.
Also, society. But more specifically to what we knew growing up when your mother was at home.
Because just the thing about it is, if you speak to a St. Lucian, a Grenadian, the African lineage, They will tell you the importance of the family, and they'll tell you the importance of the father, what the father did, and the importance of the mother.
The hierarchy of the family.
Yeah.
And the roles that they both
Let's go
genders
quickly
play.
to the telephone. Good evening.
Yes, it's me again, man. You guys beating around the bush. That society is designed like that, my brother, to discriminate the black man. So not try to beat around the bush and say it like it is. It was designed like that. You know what I'm saying? When the mothers used to stay home and our children was more this thing, bro. You check? You know, the man was the head, but the woman run the house. You understand? Today, that's why brothers are like the way they are, because they make women think that you know that's what makes they low ballers, bro. You check?
Yeah, boy.
So that's what that's all by design, my brother. It's all by design. And they have these young brothers today, they want to stand by the road and smoke and drink and don't go to work. You understand? Design, all right, my brother? I'm listening.
Thanks.
It's all by design.
Thank you. Yeah. You heard the point the caller made? It's all by design. If we remember, if we can juggle our brain back, we heard in the 70s and into the 80s, more so into the 80s, where women were asking for more autonomy. They went to the United Nations and they received that autonomy where now they can be more independent. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Cecil, big brother. Good evening, Brain.
Good evening.
Brain correction. Mr. Hartley Adams correction. We cannot say that women, since women start to work, men cannot stand the ground in that kind of sense. It was sounding like. Well, right now in life, because of cost of living has gone up dramatically, right, in our society, especially in the West. Right now, we have what you call where women going out and work as well. So if a man decides to drop the ball, it's not the woman's fault. There is something in the home called shared responsibility, where a man and a woman share the responsibility to bring up the children and to share the responsibility in bills. So if a woman chooses to work to help you out and the man wants to stay home, he can also do that. So it's not really the woman's fault. I blame society and the things that we want in life so badly, because most of us, we want to be like America so bad and lose our way and pick up the American unhealthy style. It takes a toll on us where we don't know our right from our left when it comes to our health benefits. Like, for instance, right, we want to import in the Caribbean American goods, especially American food. That's one of the worst things. Not even Britain, not even the United Kingdom, when they order their food, take food from America the way how the Americans feed their population. They have to go back in and tweak the people of the United Kingdom food, because certain amounts of sugar and certain type of sugars are not allowed in the United Kingdom or Europe, for a matter of fact. So us in the Caribbean, we need to rethink where we're getting our food from. Instead of ordering our foods from America, it's better to order our food from the United Kingdom as well. Because, with the help of diabetes and high cholesterol and high blood pressure, we really have to get ourselves back in check and get ourselves back into the traditional things of our natural herbs and spices and our natural medicines that we used to live. Like, for instance, you all was talking about guava leaf is good for high blood pressure. We have to get back into the roots of things. Anyway, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Well, Cecil,
all right.
The thing about it, the traditional society, the responsibility is that of both men and women.
Yes.
But in the Lakou that we grew up in, the mother was always there at home.
Not just the mother. The grandmother also played a role. especially if the mother has to go out and let's say out of state to fend for the family. You find that the grandmother, that's what the Lakou life was. The grandmother would now take the place of the mother. So you have a lot of children, you have a lot of people our age who were actually raised by their grandmother, not by their mother, because their mother left to go to England, left to go to St. Martin, left to go to Antigua to fend for themselves. And still, even those of them who decided to work here in Dominica, grandma would be there. So you can see that woman taking her child to bring it to her mother's home, or the child's father's mother's home, so that grandmother would play that role of mother for the child while the mother is not here.
Yes, I agree with you. But in terms of the mother's role within the family, within the Lakou, they played a very important role. And as you said, the significance of the grandmother as well. So society has changed, the roles have shifted, and we have to understand a very important point now is that the women are more, what I would say, educationally savvy. They no longer want to be at home just being, they would say, a slave to the man. They want to earn their living. But the other caller made a very important point, the share responsibilities within the household. So it's a struggle there. But more significantly within the Caribbean society, we have to begin to examine what we're actually doing. In terms of the point he made in terms of agriculture, we have to learn to grow what we eat. We're depending too much on fast things. We have to grow what we eat.
Let's see what the caller have to say. Good evening.
The African tradition have disappeared, you know. I hope you understand that. Because when the father is to go out in the field and work, if she has more children, she has to come on the field too and cook. The only time she stays at home is when she has children to look upon. And according to the study of the children, all of us have to go up too. So everything has changed. The whole African tradition has changed. Women move on to independence, own their own money, have their own motor, independence. So everything has changed. So them lifestyles have disappeared.
Right. So, Cecil, your reaction to that?
Well, I made a point that we are seeing these things been disappeared, and for several reasons. And one of the biggest that you'd hear people talk about is economics. Things get tougher, and so the woman has to go out and work. But I always ask myself, is it things that get tougher, or is it because of economic slavery? Meaning, everything we see, we need to buy. When we grew up, our parents didn't have motor vehicles, didn't have all of these sophisticated things. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, brother, man.
You pull out the man.
I've been listening all night.
We pull him out, man.
Listening all night.
Cecil's last point really rocked my shoulder. But I want to go show now. I need the first question I want to really ask Cecil on that subject matter. Was it beneficial to the family with the migration of mothers and fathers leaving the children for the responsibility of their grandparents? Was it beneficial in the sense?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, that's a yes and no answer.
Okay, because I want the yes and no side of it also.
You want to listen?
Hold on a while.
All right.
My parents always had that notion. They had opportunities for travel because they had lots of friends who were out in the Americas and England and Canada and those places. But whenever the offerings were extended to them, they would have made it a point of duty on behalf of the children. If we are to come, we have to bring our baggage with us, which was we, the children. And thus, or hence, they never left what they were doing to seek greener pastures. And when I look back at the situation, that's hence the reason I asked the question, because stayed there, the labor and toil, great cocoa, sell little delicacies for survival. And they made us good children. But when I really reflect on the past and those that were left behind for grandchildren, for their grandparents to take care of, most of them became victims of society. So that's why I'm asking that question. You can reiterate a little more on that.
As I said, yes and no. You have situations where, and you and I would know quite a number of parents who have left their children for their grandparents. And these children became great examples to society. Not because their parents left, but because of the way their grandparents brought them up. The things that they taught them, the values that they give to them, that they give their children. And that's the only reason why most times you find that the mothers or fathers would have left, is because of the confidence that they had when they were growing up. The work that they did for their children, that they would have done it for their grandchildren. So that is the yes for me. The no would be, there are some of them who fell from the cracks because the grandparents, especially in terms of age, they'll be stressed. Sometimes the parent of that child do not send a dime to the grandmother, and creating that additional stress to not only the grandparents but to society. And the child has to go out and fend for themselves. And by virtue of that, they fall in the cracks, and then you find that society will deal with them differently, and by society dealing with them differently, the negative will get out of them, creating a real nuisance to the society.
Right. But I have another spin on that. Women traditionally have looked over the past years and seen certain things not going well for them. First of all, the men give them children, and they have to take them into court. So they're now thinking and they're discussing it among themselves in the little forums or fora. And what they've decided to do is not to make too many children. If they make one or two, they don't want more.
Sell only two.
Because what they're saying now is that these children are keeping them from making progress. Because they have to spend their entire life raising these children. So it doesn't make no sense for them to go making 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that has had certain implications for us as well. Because we cannot develop Dominica with 50, 60,000 people. To develop Dominica effectively and efficiently, we need at least 100,000 people as our population. So we'll be able to, for instance, keep our economy rolling. Because 50,000 people just doesn't make sense in terms of economic growth, because we are the people to buy in the supermarkets, we are the people to work. So these are implications for us, since these women are now economizing themselves in terms of doesn't want to find themselves making children who are not.
The caller is still on the line.
So I just wanted to throw that other aspect.
So I just want to find out from the caller if he has any rebuttal.
Yeah, I accepted what you said, but since you talk about the family balance, that is a gender issue between a man and a woman. I foresee that when our parents brought us into the world, they did all what they had to do for us to make us adults until we had to live and fend and create our own family. Then why do we have to burden themselves? Because they come see you're déjà fini, you're fini bad. Pour les battre, you know the life that they live.
Mais où ça là ni un lot grand parent qui a 10 enfants yo aller et quitter ses enfants là-bas moi.
But some
well, you know, without intervention, when people go up there, they always see in the pastures. You know, when you see the green gold coming in the envelope, that is just what they like, you know, the funds. But remember, funds alone cannot raise children.
That's true.
The family, it's a structured situation.
Yes.
You have to play a little role. But at the same time, from what I've heard and what I've read, it looks like when the monies come, it's not for the right purpose. It goes to other avenues.
Yes, that's right.
So,
Yes.
But what's the significance or the importance of sending anything if you have to send? Or first and foremost, leave and go out there and seek greener pastures. And there's no benefit at the end. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
But good program as usual.
Right. Well, that's why I made a very important point that these women don't want to leave their children for the grandparents. So they are managing themselves in terms of number of children they make.
Good evening.
For economic reasons.
Good
evening.
Hey, good night. It's me again. Brain, you were saying that Dominica need at least another a population of 100,000.
Yeah.
I think Dominica need more than that, because if you look at Dominica, just a little under 300 square miles, right? Dominica is larger than Barbados, larger than St. Vincent, St. Lucia. It's just a little smaller than Martinique. A country like Dominica, we need double the population. Let me explain to two of you, right? You rode a bike in your past already. Probably presently you still ride a bike, right? Which one of the gears on the bike is the hardest?
Cecil?
The one with the less teeth, right?
The foot gear?
And
foot
the
gear?
one, the gears on the bike.
1, 2, 3, 4, you know.
The one, right. The one with the less teeth on the bike is the hardest gear. But the gear, the gear with the most teeth has the easiest. It is the easiest one to pedal on the bike. Why I'm saying that? If you have a greater population, right, the workforce is going to spread. Okay, we're gonna have a population where you could share the shifts, where instead of working from 8 to 3 in the afternoon, you could even split the shift, which is easier for the people and for the employer. Where if you have your hours from 7 to 7, you could easily squeeze in 2 shifts in there, sometimes even 3. You guys follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're following your logic.
So
yeah.
Right. So like that, for instance, we having issues with morning in the morning with gridlock, right? The reason why we having that problem, because every one of us are going to work at the same time. If they split the shift in Dominica, the road is going to be less congested, because you have some people going to work in the morning and some people going to work later on in the afternoon. So that mass of people that are going to work at once in the morning and everybody going home at the same time in the afternoon will be lessened. You guys follow? So the more people we have in Dominica is the less the struggle, is less we have to pay on taxes, and everything going to be much better, because some people will tell you the bigger the population is poverty. No, that's not true. America is begging for people to come over. We have a population of in America of, 320 million. And every day people is coming into America. So they know the reason why they having immigrants coming. So why can't we do the same? Anyway, thanks for taking my call. And remember that theory with the bike.
Thank you. I like that. Let's see what call after. Good evening.
Can I come to America with Dominica?
I don't think he was doing that.
I don't think he was doing
He was trying to tell us the value of population. And he's saying that huge America, they are combating that problem because they need a higher population. If with even
highly industrial.
No, I don't think you get the point what the caller was trying to make. Okay. The caller was trying to say to us, if we have a population that is bigger than what it is now, in terms of the congestions that we are now encountering.
I understand exactly what you're saying. See, but to compare it now, that won't happen now. Yeah, what enough industries for that?
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, man. That's your point.
I don't think the caller was getting
the point we were making.
The point that the guy was making. I don't think the guy was making the point that
industrialization.
About industrialization. He's saying that if you have a greater population,
right,
definitely more employment will come. And then you'll have shifts for employment.
That's what
it puts less pressure onto the system.
On the system.
Because right now you're having more people coming to work. You have more
at the same time.
At the same time. You know?
Everyone
goes to work at the same time.
At the same
most
time.
persons go to work at the same time.
And they leave at the same time.
So creating congestion.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
You know? That's what the caller is saying.
But in terms of industrialization, that's not what he was saying.
Yeah.
So very, very important discussion. But on the issue of the gender, that's one of the reasons in terms of transferring culture, the women play a very important role in that. Because basically they would be there at home to look after the children and to make sure that they follow the certain rules. And if they were unable to control, they would point that out to the father.
All right, let's hear what caller has to say. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, I want to strongly support the caller who made that point regarding the industrial movement and how it can assist in productivity. Because I'll tell you one thing, we have a culture that we work from 8 to 1, 2 to 4. And when you try to shift gears, especially when I was home, that sounds like brutality.
Far-fetched. But hold your point. There are some people, a friend of mine who was a customer working from 8 to 4, he has to start work at 12 o'clock in America in the night. He starts work at 12 in the night.
That's the point the call is making. That's what he said.
That's what I'm coming to. And he has a very strong point, as I indicated. Because if I'm out of Dominica, and the movement of traffic, you have where you work, in particular, the free shifts, 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. And there's also, if they want to include that, there's what they call a co-op shift that goes from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, 7 in the night to 7 in the morning. And hence that is, the industrial framework is just moving, the engine is just on the roll, and you have the family, like I can give, for example, because I have that sort of environment where two people, husband and wife, they work, one work in the morning and one work in the night. And that gives them a chance to be with the children, to cook food and build a family. But I don't think we are ready for that in Dominica.
But also it can destroy family, yeah?
Can destroy family because caller.
Yes, but you have to be proactive. You always have to look at the pros and
cons, right? Yeah.
And anything we do in negative will always play a part.
There's strengths and weaknesses.
I love a little 2% of negativity to overhaul 98% of positivity. We're not ready to go. Because I'll tell you something. When you leave the people who want to do those hours but when they leave and they come to greener pastures, it's so cool because they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. So all the pros and cons, whether it's build and break, they have to either break and build or similarly create and do what they have to do. But that's how it is. And that's why the industrial nations will continue to lead the way, because the system is built on progression and productivity. That's it. Simple. Don't do it about it. We like a CEO from Friday to Saturday, or Friday, when Friday gets there, no work Saturday, no work Sunday. Bro, we have to think of a little change sometime.
Right.
But I like the Chinese mentality.
Right. But when you
we build and we just hand over to you. That's it. We look at the time frame, and that's how things supposed to roll.
Thank you.
Too much play and no work.
Jack a dull boy.
Bad boy.
Right.
But when you have plenty work and little play, according to the guy from Portsmouth you interviewed some time ago, work hard first and then play after.
Bubbles.
That's the notion.
Yeah, bubbles. Yeah.
And it's children bubbling like too much water suffocating them. So that's good. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, the question about that, Cecil, is that in industrialized countries, people work 3 shifts, 3 jobs, So he pointed out that you work from 7 to 11, another one from 1 to whatever, and all night they're working, I know a guy who is working in the States and his wife doesn't see him until next day, 12 in the night, the man is working. Can you imagine that you're in a ministry working at 12 in the night and leaving at 7 next morning? Cecil, can you imagine that? Or some business place open in the night from 12 until 7? Because these countries, they don't close.
I think there's a discussion that is required from the top. to start having that kind of discussion. But again, population is important.
Population is important.
You know? It will really help.
Division of labor.
Yeah, so you have the distribution of labor.
Yes.
And also it brings some economy of scale into play.
Right.
You know, so I think we have to as a people now start to think. And by thinking so, those of us who refuse to say we're going to make 2 and 3 children,
right,
let us take the opportunity to let the people from Santo Domingo, the people from Jamaica, the people from Guyana,
right,
the people from Haiti to come in to create that population for that transfer.
But let me tell you that a very important discussion, since we are talking about school and traditions of school. A number of schools are has closed because there are nobody there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because without a population in a particular community, the question is, would you keep the school functioning when you have to pay all lights, water, teachers within that setting? Because the population in that school, from a school you had a population of 150, and now you have only 25 students in the school.
No, Brain. We're only looking at it from the educational point of view. We also have retirement. Retirement age now, I think, is 65.
Right. Well, they're planning even to up it to 70.
No. The probability, based on what we are seeing in those society, all right, what we are seeing in those society where population is going
declining,
down or declining,
and the population is aging,
it's going to affect the society because our population is aging, and so you might need people in the next 20 years, and you may not have population to fulfill those things. And then we're going to get problems by saying, we're getting people from overseas to come. And that's what's happening to us now, because we have an aging population. We have a very, very, very young population that some of them are still at school, and some of them do not have the experience of work yet. And so you find our country sometime is going to be at a standstill.
Right.
So we have to now start to have the discussion
on that. But let me start the discussion here, because a lot of your young men are now not engaged in gainful employment.
Mm-hmm.
They're into another culture.
Mm-hmm.
So your male population now is getting involved in other activities, and they're not producing as much as when we grew up as a male population.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another discussion, another big discussion that we can't sweep it under the carpet, because that is a reality.
Because I suspect, Brain, that the Caribbean is going to go through that brain drain. The entire Caribbean.
They have already.
Besides Jamaica and Trinidad,
right,
with a very huge population,
right,
and Guyana to a certain extent. But when you look at the OECS countries, and we are seeing the mark of industrialization, and how quick it is now, and how slow we are getting towards industrialization, it's going to start to affect us maybe in the next 10 years, or maybe even sooner.
But I'm going to throw something at you. First of all, in Jamaica...
Before you throw at me, let's say what the caller say. Good evening.
Yeah, just stupid question that I want to ask. I don't know how to answer.
Ask your question, brother. You're free to ask it.
How is that Americans, wherever they are in the world, can be taxed and have to send back money to America? And Dominicans, wherever they go, can be done, that same thing can happen. I ask that in the context of that whole population thing.
Okay.
Because a lot of people migrating, a lot of people overseas, and I wonder what value can we benefit from that migration? What's happening? And we'll forget what's happening now with our population, since our females now hardly want to make children. It means that the population is going to get less and less.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do with that migration? How can America do it and we can't do it all? Try to answer that for me, please.
No, I think...
First thing Nicolas has to know. First thing Nicolas has to know. That, no, that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Very troublesome question. Very troublesome question.
Not a troublesome question. First thing Nicolas has to understand, let us look at our society. Everyone knows each other. And once people hear the word tax, they immediately think that you're asking for more or increasing, and then they're going to ask you, what are you giving me in return if I'm going to give you more tax? I am living out of Dominica. What am I going to get in reference to the taxes that you're going to charge me if I'm out of Dominica? And so that level of ignorance has to be removed.
Okay.
Before we even have to start that level of discussion.
But we cannot hide it.
Huh?
We cannot hide it.
No, we cannot. We shouldn't. And I think in the Caribbean, what we now need to do is like in the United States, it is the hand and the money. In the Caribbean, it's face and the money. So I know you, I charge you a rate. I do not know you, I charge you a particular rate. So I'm saying what we have to try to do now is to do things with numbers. Transactions with numbers.
Right.
Rather than doing transactions with names. And so we have moved from another discussion.
But let me tell you something. We're still there.
Thanks, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Shaw, let me just tell you that economic vulnerability. Most small countries are highly dependent on international forces over which they have almost no control. Some have become quite wealthy from tourism or from tax-free trading, but these activities are sensitive to international exchange. I don't want to go too long with this, but what we are seeing is that we are not actually in control of everything we do.
Mm-mm.
There are foreign countries, high, powerful countries, who always want to control your resources. We can see it in countries that have oil. They try to take control over the oil.
Mm-hmm.
If you do certain things, like you have your CBI or other things, you see some fellas within the country and outside the country and other international forces want to affect it. You're talking about another situation about taxing Dominicans who travel just like America. But that has political implications for that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a simple answer to that question. In terms of the population size and migration, we cannot hide it that there is a level we may have to import labor.
Mm-hmm. And that is the first order of business, to allow us as a people to be a little bit more knowledgeable as to what is going on, because I think what the authority has to now do is to tell us the challenges that they are encountering.
Yes.
And what is required to solve that problem.
Exactly.
Because the population that we have will not solve. Because while we talk about a population, what about the working population?
Exactly.
That's what's important.
But not
so
only
you can have a population of 72,000 people. I'm using 72,000.
Yes.
And you have a population, let's say, of 45,000. So let's say 50% of the population is actually employed. That 50% of the population is not able to sustain or continuously sustain the economy of the country. So while we're talking about, we don't have this, we poor, with this, we have to try to get to understand the exchange of the economy, the exchange of the dollar. So more people that you have, it's better for you as a country, because you have more exchange of the dollar.
But let me show you what's happening. We are training people. We are training people at our colleges. And we are training people. But who are we training them for? Because most of the times when we train them, they go. For instance, even in Jamaica now, you see they have a problem with their nurses migrating to get...
Barbados too.
And not only that, they are losing people. Their teachers are moving out of the country. So whilst we are training people, we are not getting our money from big countries who take them by offering them more salaries. We're training them, but they're going. So we're going to have a problem whereby every time they're going to be asking for more money because they know they can get more money on the other side. How do we sustain that level of training that we create here, and it's being exported? They're going with their skills. So the Caribbean is facing a real issue with that. Not only Jamaica, but Barbados.
You're talking about more money and brain. In the United States, I do not know what the salary of a teacher, because every state would have a different salary structure.
Structure.
And so when you look at the various taxes
that they pay,
that they have to pay,
the house rent,
and you have to now look at dealing with the issue of house rent, you have to deal with the issue of water bill, you have to deal with the issue of light bill. Although as we know that the light bill doesn't come every month, it comes every, I think, 3 months, like the French. But the point is, when it comes, it doesn't come with $1 and $2. It comes with huge amounts. And so when our people find themselves leaving our shores and say they're going to greener pastures. What do you consider to be greener pastures? Are you considering the dollar value that you're going to get immediately and not looking at the expense or the weight of the dollar value you're going to receive in another country?
I wish the caller who just called us a while ago just briefly just give us an understanding, because he's left here, he's gone out there, and he's telling us about the number of hours people work, the periods of time that they work, and that is another stress on the body.
Not just the period of time that they work, the amount of times that they have to work. With different jobs. So some people to sustain, in Dominica,
they can have one.
In Dominica, you can have one. In Dominica, you can have one. Seldomly that you find people with more than one job.
Living in these metropolitan countries or highly developed, industrialized countries.
Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, well, I don't know. This conversation you guys have me calling. That's me again. I could answer that question for you because I'm in this country 40 years. There's no greener pastures over here, my brother. Greener pastures is you. Let me tell you something. You see this struggle. You see, when you talk about rent or mortgage, you talk about taxes. Number one, when you work here, right? They take tax off your salary off the top. You work X amount, you've been taxed X amount. Whenever you go to the gas station, you've been taxed. Whenever you go to the grocery store, whatever you buy, there you've been taxed. You understand? So there's no such thing and let me tell you something. You work harder out here than when you leave Dominica. I'm not asking you, I'm here 30 years. They're boss, they're behind. You understand? As you say, Brain, there's people that used to work from 8 to 4, now they have to work from 12 to 8. Things we never did back home to survive, that's what we're doing here. Some of us, our living condition is not easy over here. So when you talk about greener pastures, my brother, I could answer that for you because I'm here 30 years. I work for the New York State Water Department. I'm a pension, right? And I know there's no such thing. All they have is harass, and more harass. Tell them Fitzgerald Augustus, Sandy Kojak says so. And there's no greener pastures. It's true you make $1 fast, but the same way you make that, my brother, the same speed it go. Mortgage, Parental, car insurance, car note, everything you have to pay for. You understand? Everything you have to buy. A green fig. Back home you can go in your backyard and pick a cabbage. You cannot do that up here. You have to buy everything. So you see that greener pastures? That is fake. You ever seen it have a song, the thing that they knew in New York City just to survive? It's a rotten apple, brother. I'm listening.
Thank you. Someone just said that they corrected me in reference to, I said 3 months. The person said for the light bill is every month, the water bill is every 3 months.
Every 4 months,
yes. But I know in the French, from experience, I know that the French is almost the same.
Right,
but
right,
I know that water and light, I think, is like 3 months.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. The point I was making is that you still have to pay the bill.
Right. But another thing where we must take...
Someone else...
go ahead.
I'm sorry, the person will have to call back.
Getting hot and furious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that small island states are also very vulnerable to natural disasters. And we noticed that we are very vulnerable to hurricanes and storms. And when I notice that what I hear certain developed countries, when the islands get struck by storms or typhoon, what they get in terms of contributions to help them develop is very minimal to other countries who are engaged in warfare, where we see the type of funding that they get, is chalk and cheese, because we in the Caribbean are not responsible for global warming and the effects of global warming on our economies, because you could have your entire economy destroyed by a storm. You spend millions and millions of dollars developing certain infrastructures, and a hurricane can go and throw it down.
Let's go back to the telephone quickly. Good evening.
Yes, it's me again. Kojak is so right. All right. For instance, I work in 2 jobs presently, right? Before that, Okay, as he said, he's been there for 30 plus years. I've been there for almost 25 years in the U.S., right? Now, from the time I started, I came here because I was told there's greener pastures in America. I left my job with the cruise lines, and I come and work. That's the biggest mistake I ever made. If I had stayed my backside in Dominica, I would have been better off today. I will tell you that for sure. And I'll tell you the reason why, okay? Now, I have been working, back then, I worked 2 jobs. I had to leave Stop and Shop. Actually, I start work at Stop and Shop at 11 o'clock at night, leave Stop and Shop at 7 in the morning. Sometimes leave Stop and Shop at 6 just to make it to my other job at 7 in the morning at BJ's. Leave BJ's at 3 o'clock. Go home, try to get sleep for 4 o'clock to get back to work at 11 o'clock at night. Mind you, I have car to pay. I got car insurance to pay, car tax to pay. That's not even counting your gas and your service of your vehicle. All right? You have insurance, your car note to pay, and taxes of the car to pay. And mind you, another thing, the notion that people have that their car that they're driving in America is theirs. No, it's not yours. You're paying taxes for that. You don't pay taxes for that. They will impound your vehicle. Same as your house. People think that houses that they buy and own in America is theirs. It's not theirs. Don't pay taxes and don't pay your sewer for houses in America. They will take that away from you. In Dominica, we have choice. You can pay our taxes or not. If you don't pay your taxes, you don't get good road or however it works out back home. But here in America, that dream yes, it is easy money to make in America. Money comes fast, but money leaves you quicker. Because right now, whenever they take out taxes, yes, they take out taxes for Social Security, for your health, and for state tax, which you can claim back in the end of the year, in the beginning of the year from January to April 15th. You can claim that back, right? This is good. Dominica can do the same thing because Clarence Christian is good in taxes as well. There's a lot of accountants that can do that. And people can file for their taxes. If they find they pay too much taxes for the year, they can do that, right? But here in America, when they take out taxes, they don't only take out taxes once on your salary, you know. They take out taxes in gas. They take out taxes in grocery, as Kojak was saying. Sometimes you pay taxes double and triple the time. You know, there is many more things I want to say, but I don't want to hold up the line.
Yes.
Anyway, that's a very important show. Very, very important. Tell Dominicans, Lord have mercy, stay home. Try to make children because the country needs them. Cecil is talking about 10, 20 years. I don't see it that far. I don't. The way how young men are going today that don't want to make children, don't want to work, trust me, I'm not saying Dominica population going that far for too long. We might have to import people in Dominica. Thanks for taking my call. One love again. God bless.
Thank you. No, let's read something that caller said.
Yeah.
Some of the OECS countries are having increase in the population while Dominica is experiencing a decrease. A major contributor is the lack of employment opportunity plaguing the country for years now. If people can't find gainful employment, they will continue to live for greener pastures, and that's the reality.
The reaction.
Now, I want to say that since I know myself going to school way back in the 70s,
go ahead, Cecil.
I've heard Dominica population 70. I've heard St. Lucia population way back then over 100,000 people. You can go back and look at those
I
days.
can give you this population.
We still have this thing, this book, this atlas that was giving us the population, the capitals, the import and export of the country.
Right.
All right, and from that green atlas, and Dominica population, all that time was always 70,000. I want someone to challenge me. So our population has never risen to beyond 75.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard Dominica population 75,000?
No, I have not heard.
Have you ever heard that?
No,
I want someone to call me and tell me, have we ever heard? And the person, if you're 60 years, call me and tell me that yes, you have seen and heard Dominica population has ever been 75,000, has been 75,000.
Well, I'm reading from a book written by Mark Bury. The population at one time he recorded, and he was looking at a population below 1.5 million people. And Dominica's population he has there, but I have never heard it, but statistically, he has it as 83,000. And 83,000.
Dominica has 83,000.
But he had it at 83,000.
What year was that?
That was around in the 1980s. He had it at 83,000, and so he had a whole set of countries whose population was 0.5.
Just hold that information. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, I'm here again. Let me start with the last 9. Sustainability. We are good at that, so we can sustain our population. And you're very correct, Cecil. From the time we went to school, population of Dominica, 70,000. And even today, after many years, still 70,000. So we can sustain.
Okay.
Number 2 is there's no intent of leaving your country of birth, but sometimes circumstances force you to. And that's cause for and reason why I had to migrate. But sweet Dominica will always be sweet Dominica, no matter where you go. And Gordon Henderson said that once migration is a natural phenomenon.
Yes, it is.
You must return. You must come back home. And on the question of greener pastures, bro, I'm not a farmer. I never want a piece of farm, but it's not anything green over there.
Is that green? So let me put it bluntly. Is it not green gold up there?
It's not green gold. Gold is not green. Gold is always yellow, and I think when the sun hits the green turf, it gets yellow. So there's nothing like greener pastures over there, brother. It's just that you have to work harder, just for a little more. That comes and goes faster.
Okay.
And on the extent that, obviously, the opportunities for growth and development is more open out there.
Yeah.
These are the advantages that they have and that they offer. But to say greener, no, according to Sani, bro, you have to work much more than when you're back home. And there are one word I learned, but when I went to school was homework. And that's the environment here. Home, work, home. And that's it. Right for now.
Wow, I've never heard that
I've never heard that before.
I've never heard that before.
Home, work, and work home.
Wow. Someone just sent me a message, and the person says on Facebook,
yes,
caller, you hit the nail on the head. The system in America is made to keep you right there. Everything stays here, highly taxed. That's why we need to stop telling people it's greener out there. America is not for everyone. And I knew that America wasn't for me. I went to America many, many times.
Yeah.
And I knew when I saw America that it wasn't for me. When I felt America, I knew it wasn't for me.
Okay.
That's why I'm still here in Dominica.
Very interesting.
Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Yes.
You're live.
Yes, I really like to advance a cause which I really think can be part of a solution.
Okay, go ahead.
We advancing and we're talking a lot about the Lakou. And if we say that the Lakou has taught us certain values,
norms and values,
to come together, to unite, and everything, to just love everything. No, we lost something which could have made that population talk of no effect. We're talking about unity of people. And we in the Caribbean that decided to try to unite in the 60s and did not make it out, all that is causing that population decline. Because it could be a population of the entire Caribbean rather than just 70,000 people or 50,000 people.
You're talking federation.
The entire Caribbean. And further to that, we could use that even further among the whole black race of people, that we could be million people strong. So millions of people strong. So we won't have that problem of population and the problem of having no power because we don't have population. If we are united, but the problem with us is the problem of unity, trying to come together to work to achieve things. And we did not do it. I give the politicians a lot of blame and a lot of blame for that. Because we attempted to do it, we could do it, and we failed to do it. So that population thing would have no effect. And that could be could have been part of the solution.
But
we saw
let me put something on him
before
he
we saw the United States move to foot from.
He's left us.
You have seen the United States. He's making a very valid
point. But the question is, there has been a lot of discussion of free movement of skills and trade. Skills, people with skills, and movement of population.
Well, that is a fact.
Is that a reality?
No, it's a reality because we are seeing people making
movement from Dominica,
from one country to another.
From the country,
right now,
since after Maria,
we have seen quite a lot of solutions are here.
Because there's that big discussion here.
We have seen quite a number of Jamaicans living here. We have seen various persons from the other parts of the Caribbean are here, and so the free movement of people and skills are actually happening. All right, I think what has to be taught to us as a people that we must be patient, and we, the same way that our people would leave and go to Montserrat and go to Antigua and go to St. Thomas and be accepted, we must now take that same attitude of acceptance. And I think that is where we are lacking.
The attitude.
And so people are talking about it. These foreign people are talking about it. That and what it does is that it prevents others.
Are we racial?
Are we?
No, in terms of our attitude to people, because people can say you're racist. If let's say I come from St. Lucia and I come to work in Dominica, your attitude towards me might be negative. Is it a Caribbean phenomenon or is it unique to Dominica?
It's not unique to Dominica. I don't think it is unique to Dominica because anybody who comes to your shore to be gainfully employed, you'll find that other people would speak. I mean, once upon a time in Antigua, that's how they looked at us. But right now, we are accepted in the Antigua society.
In Guadeloupe, too.
In Guadeloupe, we brought quite a lot of our skills and knowledge across to these people.
St. Martin.
The
Virgin Islands.
But then you find that we were not accepted immediately.
Okay.
But as they go along and they see the talent and the ability that we have, we will quickly accepted. And so it is totally different from those of us who are here in Dominica. The foreigners who are here in Dominica, that sometimes we give them a stress. Sometimes these people are here for 7 years. The law says after 7 years you can apply, and sometimes we give them from the immigration department or from the legal aspect of things that we are slow in coming to give these people the opportunity to really reside. And sometimes if they get frustrated, what do they do next? They leave.
They leave, yeah.
So I think we have to start working as a people, as a country, in the acceptance of these people. Because if these people have the skill that we do not have,
we should be able
why should we not accept them?
Okay. So you're talking. You see the kind of discussion that we must have, because these discussions are very important to open our minds to what the reality of economic development and growth is. Because if we're talking that way, in terms of wanting to move society and to create a certain avenue and attitude for economic growth and development, we cannot run away from these discussions. These discussions must take place, which will enlighten us.
We have to. I think as a country, we have to begin to speak on how do we accept others, because we have seen our population is not growing. For years we have been speaking about that. As a boy growing up, there was very, very popular talk of we not growing. We saw people from Antigua coming to. That's why you see the community of Marigot and
Wesley, Woodford Hill,
because we needed these people to come in to work. Good evening to you, caller.
And you know, again, one of the biggest problems we really have here, really and truly, is do having an international airport for a little while, because really and truly, you do have an international airport, my lord. You would not necessarily tell you what I say that. Because really and truly, an international airport will have more people in our country, different parts of the world, really and truly. Because when you watch it well, to come to Rivernica once upon a time is a problem, you know, with airline and getting in and all kind of, you know what I'm saying? So if we are at an international airport, I feel it will be up and running in better colors and in living colors. So really and truly, right now, the international airport really touch the tip or touch the base. I feel we'll have a different energy. We have 75,000. When that international airport comes, we're going to have 100,000. And the private partner right there, a lot of people, there are problem with some DA people again. When they're in the country, they have a lot of pride and dignity. And as soon as they leave the place and go somewhere, they're doing tooth bagay. Everything goes. Because why? When you see you have to get up and you go looking for a slip and you can't find slip, it's a problem. And a lot of them DA men putting problem into people's life. Them women doing the same thing too. Catch all yourself. Fireman listening, I'm a fireman. Nobody cares.
Thank you very much. Well, Cecil, we come to the end?
No, not yet. I was about to say to the caller that he speaks about international airport. But we have seen in Antigua, we have seen 38% of the population is foreigners. It might be more now. But I know that my last review...
Yeah, you're right. You're correct.
My last review, 38% of the population, all right? 38% were made of foreigners.
St. Martin's.
And they have an international airport.
Yes.
And so you'll find the workforce now, the workforce in Antigua is more foreigners than that of the Antiguans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying in Dominica, we pride ourselves on wanting to work.
Right.
All right? So having an international airport, yes, it will create much more opportunities in terms of business, but we have to prepare ourselves that people are going to come to our shores to look for greener pastures, as we normally say, to look for work. Because there are some skills that we do not have. So, for instance, if we had to build an international airport without the assistance of foreigners, you think Dominica would have finished building an international airport now? No. When we build the stadium, you think we had the skills that are required to build a stadium in 18 months? No, we don't. It would have taken us 5, 7, 8 years. I remembered when we were building the ferry terminal. It didn't take us 2 years. It didn't take us 3 years. It took us more than 4 years to finalize building. As a matter of fact, the morning you had the groundbreaking of the stadium, and the afternoon you had the groundbreaking of the ferry terminal, and the international the stadium was a bigger project, both with money and magnitude.
Right.
But what happened?
Well,
the stadium finished before.
The discussion is about bringing in people with skills, your population size. All these are things we have to look at. Our attitude to people who come to work on our island is another problem for us in terms we have to shift our paradigms. And so the discussion is something that we have to begin to discuss. The other caller made issues in terms of how do we accept that? Is something we have to begin to teach at our schools. This is a mindset you have to change. And it doesn't just change overnight. Because people have their culture. And they have the culture, Pakite yo po Dominic Hodno. They tend to think if the people come to work, the people will eventually take Dominica from them. So it's a whole education in itself. So that doesn't happen overnight. We have to take time and discuss this at all levels and make people understand that the way you develop is by focusing on skill sets, and people from other countries will have to come in, because United States didn't develop without foreign assistance.
Yes, that's correct.
England didn't develop after the war. She had to bring in laborers from all over the world. Right? So these are some of the discussions that will have to take place at all levels of the society.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that we can begin to change the attitude and mentality of our people in terms of those things. So these things don't just happen overnight.
I tell you, and we have to get ourselves serious into this frame of mind where we have to...
Another thing before we go...
someone else wanted to...
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening.
Yeah, let me tell you, America developed because of slavery and working land. I mean, they started slavery first, so they could come an industrial country. They didn't develop like that. And our family developed.
Okay. Thank you. And one last point I would like to make here is the question of new avenues for development. One of the things that we have to look at is sports. Sports is a big thing. The advent of Thea Lafont winning the gold medal is something great, because it puts Dominica on the map. And that's a big thing. That business of sports is a thing that brings in money into a country. You had the Bike Fest, was a big thing. You had Thea winning the gold. You have the two cricketers, Afanas and the other one. People get to know your country through that avenue. So that's another area we have to begin to exploit and see how best we can enhance that publicity we got from Thea winning the gold medal. So this is another area for discussion, and the Lakou has to evolve. That's another
Because
big
the
discussion.
the Lakou plays an integral role in the development of a good citizen.
That's right.
Because when you look at a greater percentage of people who represented Dominica, the greater percentage came from the Lakou.
That's right.
You know?
And I was very happy to see, and I must congratulate the Dominica population for embracing Thea when she returned to Dominica. We have to thank them tremendously because they came out and supported her return. And that gives other young persons from the Lakou the opportunity to see, well, I can excel if I do well.
Let's take a call. Good evening.
No, not for nothing. I feel like blessings, Brian, and Blue in one calling match. But I'm glad you mentioned sports, man. All you see Maggie, all ever young boy in Dominica, the government need to rally around Maggie. That boy is doing a lot for the youth of Dominica. So all you have to rally around that boy, man. That boy have a passion for the youth. So let you pay attention to that boy, man, because he's in his best interest for the youth of Dominica. So Cecil, a man like you, I know you have influence. You can rally around that boy.
Well, I can tell you that I met Maggie about 2 weeks ago, and we had a very serious, powerful...
Who is that Maggie fella?
Maggie Peters.
Okay.
We had a very powerful discussion, and as a matter of fact, I can tell you that I've gotten Maggie to have a discussion with the government, a particular minister of the government, who is going to embrace Maggie, work with Maggie.
Yes.
Maggie, if Maggie is listening, can call and to confirm what I'm saying, to embrace Maggie, to ensure that the zeal that he has continues, and the zeal that he has to make our young men and women advance, that the particular minister that I spoke with is going to work with Maggie. If Maggie, if Maggie ready, can call and he can say that.
I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, he was up there and I brought him some soccer balls all the way up in Long Island. That guy has a wife. That boy could be in America as we speak if he want to. He have a wife living in some nice neighborhood, and he choose. He rather to be in Dominica, my brother. I never seen a man with a passion towards youth, and that boy do that from his heart on his own little pocket. So yeah, man. And I'll tell you another thing about Dominicans, man. My brother and them people, and you, I know you guys, have to go around the thing, but Dominicans don't want to work, because when I was home, young boy growing up, Coco Theolem and everybody had a little job by with church and things. When Dominicans leave and run to Antigua, it's not the government of Antigua they're going to work for. They're going to work for private sectors. And asking, I say, you have to create your own opportunities. All them little boys all you have running on T-Mac, $40,000 a bike, they can come together and put something together and organize opportunities. The government is only responsible for a certain amount of employment in a country, and the rest is private sector. I'm not talking there's no labor rights, no UW. I'm talking as a concerned Dominican, my brother. We have to create our own opportunities. And when they run and go to St. Kitts and Antigua, it's not the government of Antigua they're going to work for. You understand? And they don't want to work, or they just stand up on the street up in Newtown and smoke weed and get high. When I used to smoke even in Dominica, what after a hard day's work, I play my ball, I work. When I come home night time, we come together about it, we light a joint and we pass it around. We never used to stand up smoking weed all day. High day, hot sun in Dominica. I'm listening. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, boy.
We went beyond.
I can tell you tonight we started with the Lakou and talking about the schools and how we were brought up and the things that we had to do. We have ended up talking about population, employment, which is really good of the Lakou.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very good of the Lakou. Yeah. And I believe that I'm sure people are going to challenge us to have this kind of program again.
Yeah, it was a very interesting program. I mean, we have to evolve the Lakou. I mean, we have to look at changing situations within our society and begin to examine it. We can't just hide it,
Good evening. Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening. You're live.
I'm not so sure what happened.
We lost contact.
Call us back. Have to call us back. Sorry about that. And it is real, you know. It is real. Let's hear what this caller has to say. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening. Good evening to you,
Good
caller.
evening, caller.
I'm not so sure what happened. I'm saying good evening. Good evening, caller. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the phone this time around.
Okay.
Oh, my last call.
Go ahead, man. You're free to call.
That project, that program tonight inciting fire.
Fire.
Yep. I always believe, I read a little line or two from one of America's greatest writers. It's a black American. And he always proclaim that if black America would support at least 90% of our black resources, we would have been a better and more powerful group of persons. But that has not been our forte. I think we live oppositely what we should be doing. Unity is always a strength. And when you add it in numbers, there is nothing to divide that force. On another hand, I was just contemplating on a line or two that I read that said, your most faithful and humble servant. It says that we realize that our future lies chiefly in our own hands. We know that neither institution nor friends can make a race stand unless it has strength in its own foundation.
Ha, boy, philosophy. Good, my goodness, that's high level.
Practice the practice of self-reliance, self-respect, industry, perseverance, and economy.
Yes.
This is it. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Oh man, that is powerful stuff.
I just decided to Google. I just decided to Google Antigua population. We have been hearing some people saying Antigua has 120, 150, something like that, 120. I just saw that it said that Antigua population is 93,772. And it said that that's in the year 2024.
Oh, this year.
February 2024. Last year, 2023, it was 93,316. So the population would have increased by some 400 plus.
Okay.
In 2022, it was 92,840. Again, you saw a little increase, less than 500 people. And in 2020, it was 91,000.
Let me see what it says.
So between 91,000 and, between 2020 and 2024, 4 years, we saw Antigua population increase by just under 2,000 people. Just under 2,000 people.
Let me see what they had there.
Yes.
You say 93,000?
93,772. That's what it says. I just Google that, you know.
All right. Antigua population was almost like us in 1980. Antigua and Barbuda, right?
Yes, Antigua and Barbuda.
Right. The population there was, according to that book, was 72,000. So, and the area is of Antigua and Barbuda is 442 square kilometers. All right. So the population had increased, but most of the population would have increased because of migrant workers.
Yes. Yeah.
But you notice that in Dominica, we haven't had a great migrant population.
Right. We have seen an increase from after Hurricane Maria, especially from St. Lucia and the Haitian and the Santo Domingo.
Right.
Although the people from Dominican Republic was coming in, but you see a greater number of them are actually coming in now. And sometimes, we as Dominicans, our attitude, is not always the best,
But it's very interesting, Cecil. I enjoyed the program tonight. It gave us an insight of the Lakou and the evolving of the Lakou in terms of our education and what our education must do. I like the tradition, what we did in terms of people going back to school and people getting to school. What we need to tell them now. And I noticed you mentioned a guy who got A-levels for?
Yes, he got four A-levels. That's the CAPE.
The CAPE, yeah. That would,
four ones.
And that's great.
And he and that's the first time he did this. He did this, which we know CAPE is the advanced.
The advanced level.
Advanced level. He didn't go to college. He did it at St. Mary's Academy. He did from St. Mary's Academy. Yes, he did from St. Mary's Academy.
It is 4 A-levels at the academy?
From the St. Mary's Academy.
Oh, that's spectacular, man.
He got 4 A's.
That's spectacular.
Sorry, he got four ones.
4 ones.
From the
CAPE.
From CAPE, which is the advanced level.
Advanced level. And he did it at academy.
Right.
But one of the things that I have noticed, and we haven't spoken, since we were in school and we're going to close on school, is that we have made tremendous strides in our education.
Yes.
In terms of number of persons getting footing subjects, footing ones, students. And for CXC this year, they highlighted that we performed above the average, the Caribbean average.
The Caribbean average, yes.
Which we should highlight. So our education has made tremendous strides. And students from all walks of life are doing well. And we have to say thanks to our teachers, to the parents who support their children, to the society who support them. And what we would like to see is more of those persons putting, when they go overseas to study at a higher level, they would become more patriotic in terms of coming to serve their country.
I think quite a lot of them are actually not necessarily coming back.
Right.
But they send the pittance back home. A lot of them, I've heard quite a lot of family members speaking of the fact that their children are out there, got some assistance from government, or some of them got a full assistance from government. What is good about the government system here, in reference to education, when the students go out there, is that they are not bonded. So sometimes people make noise and quarrel about government have not paid this, government have not paid that. But the same set of students and the parents have to understand that their children are not bonded. So which means that they can go out there, the government can assist you, give you a full scholarship or partial scholarship, and you are not obliged in any other country in the region.
Right.
You are obliged to return, or else when they give you that bond, if your mother have a parcel of land, your father has a parcel of land, or whatever asset that was signed onto, the government will confiscate it.
Well,
by virtue of the fact that you have broken the arrangement of the bond.
I have to go on here and say I don't like it. That's me speaking for myself. When I went to all the universities that I went to, I was bonded. Because the thing about it is that the government has taken a lot of its resources to invest in me. First of all, whilst I was studying, they paid my salary for me to be able to study. And they gave me a scholarship. I was bonded under the Freedom Party because under them I went to Jamaica. Right? I went to Malta on the United Workers' Party. And I was bonded. So I'm saying the bond puts something that you have to come back and serve your country. You study, you go, the taxpayers paid you to go and study. And therefore, when you study, you have a commitment to come back. If you want another country to hire you, then you should pay the state so that another person may go and study.
Get the opportunity to go and study.
Because when you deny, when you stay overseas, you're actually preventing another person from wanting to get a scholarship.
And that is sickening,
it sickens me.
To hear some of the parents, the way that they describe the fact that government has not paid on time. It's like government is obliged to pay on time because they have made a commitment. That's fine. That is fine. That's
okay, fine. I don't have a problem with that.
But then,
when you graduate,
but you as the parent, have you instilled in that child that patriotism?
Yes.
That when you are through with your schooling, can you give the state I know what they use for excuse. When I come back, there's no job. Create your job. Show some great interest and come back home and give back to the country what you were taught.
And I don't care whether it is which government that is in power. The student must be bonded to serve your country. I don't care who it is.
Good evening.
And I can't agree with my government for people are not being bonded. That's one I disagree.
Good evening.
Commit yourself to your country.
I'm just listening to my brother Brain in the backdrop finishing.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my brother.
Brain, I totally agree with you. Irrespective of which government is in power, I think there's always that saying, don't bite the hands that feed you.
That is right. That's my philosophy.
Of ungratefulness and ingratitude, period. Yeah, because you have to look at your parents. That's why I look at children today and I realize the way they live. There's no sense of gratitude. There's no sense of appreciation. There's nothing. It's just like you're obligated to do it. And that's it. Bro, there's always a situation. If I hand you anything, the least you could say is
thank you very much. Yes, my brother.
Thank you. And no matter who is in government, who go and study, you have to realize they grant you an opportunity.
Yes, to better your condition.
Better yourself, and without that assistance,
you will never be able to make it.
You would have never achieved what you achieved today. If you come back and at least spend 10 years to give back, you can go wherever you want hereafter.
Yes.
But taking people money, go out and study, and saying there's no job. First and foremost, look at the whole environment before you decide what you elect, what you want to do in life, so your contribution will be vital upon return. This is how it is. Simple as that. But just going out there, sit down and enjoy the fruits of people's labor,
your taxes,
and then give it to somebody else after. Nah,
I cannot subscribe to that. I
beg
to disagree.
I beg to disagree. Yes, I beg to concur with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for concurring with me.
Thank you. All right. The last call for the night. We're coming to the end of the program. What a beautiful program it was tonight. I hope that a lot of people learned from what we spoke about, especially the second aspect of our discussion. I just want to say thanks to Mr. Shaw for
propelling us
and to move into another direction of the Lakou, you know, and we were able to give some clarification on a number of issues, and I'm sure that I'm very sure that a lot of people understood what we
we had a discussion which was healthy. It was non-political. It was just looking at the issues that we confront and the reality that we have to face. No matter who it is, we have to confront those in the future because they are challenges we can't run away from. Cecil, it was a pleasure being with you tonight. I mean, I enjoyed the whole discussion. I hope you will probably discover a food river where we can.
I know food river. You're excited about that male river, man.
Where those persons who suffer with a certain level of lamouage or lack of faith in the ability to propel themselves and to become self-sufficient would probably visit that river with a view of rectifying.
I always tell people, and I'll tell you too, don't be fearful about Sukuyan, witchcraft and this thing. Don't be fearful.
But if there's a river in Dominica, man, that can enlighten you to better things, let's go and visit that river.
The same way there's good, there's bad. I just want to say that I'm bringing that not
They should be national treasures if they are capable of redirecting people's thoughts and enhancing the ability to perform. Why not have those as national rivers and protect them so that others may be able to enjoy their benefits?
Boy, Brain, you are a troublesome fellow. You are really a troublesome guy.
I'm going to leave you on that note.
But Brain, it was really nice, having you tonight. We were able to discuss the Lakou go back from the way back from school and coming down to really help other people to have a greater understanding as to what's greener pastures
Yes,
about.
what's greener pastures,
We heard people from outside there telling us what they think is greener pastures and what they believe we should believe in terms of before we make a decision. Some persons told us about the taxes that we have been talking about in the countries that we admire. But tonight was a very good one. I just want to say lovely program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your insight and your information. And to the persons who have called, just want to say thank you to you. The people who have listened and to make the program what it's supposed to be, just want to say thank you. God willing, next week we will be on again for another Lakou program. Tomorrow morning, Talking Point.
I'm very happy.
I'll be having
very happy for its return.
Denix Look, the guy who ran the 800 meters in the Paris Olympics. I'll be speaking to him tomorrow, and I'm sure on Tuesday we might have an open line where people can call in to tell us about their concerns in their communities, or concern in their community, whatever they feel that they would want to speak about on Tuesday. So God willing, we will be again up with the Talking Point program. Thank you again, Ambrin.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Dead, and Israeli flags that have been altered to include the yellow ribbon symbol of the hostage families. Many of the people here believe Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, just doesn't want a deal. And if a deal is no longer possible, they say, then the hostages are no longer valuable to Hamas.
The Mexican president Andrés Manuel López Obrador has defended his record in his final annual report before leaving office.